Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The new reality of remote working. It has really swung the power back to the employee, making it a crucial time for organizations to develop their internal talent. But in this current fluctuating labor market, talent retention for employers and mobility for workers remain a challenge. Let's bring in Leo Gonsalves. He is someone that works at Workforce Solutions, a vice president of Workforce Solutions, University of Phoenix. Leo, good morning. Let's talk about talent mobility and why it is so important.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today. Talent mobility refers to the ability of the workforce to unlock and access new opportunities, skills, and positions. The University of Phoenix and Executive Networks conducted recently research with 600 HR leaders and knowledge workers. And what we found out is that developing a reliable pool of internal candidates leads to an increased level of engagement, satisfaction, and retention with the existing employees. In fact, 2/3 of the employees that were interviewed in this survey indicated that they would be more likely to stay with the current employer long term only if they had more access to career development opportunities within their current employer. The research also highlighted a gap in the understanding. Employees are not aware of the opportunities that companies they are making available to those employees.
You know, I totally get that. One of the things that we see in our industry is that people want professional development. And if you can give them professional development, they'll be more apt to stay. What resources are available to support talent development, Leo?
Yeah, technology developments have enabled the emergence of skill-centric digital talent marketplaces that allow employers to unlock the full potential of their workforce. It resolves that gap in understanding between employers and employees that I just referenced. These platforms, think of them as like dating apps of internal jobs. They allow employers to constantly scan for the qualified employees based on the skills and preferences of those employees.
It's interesting, and I know that the platform is beneficial to workers. Can you tell us how?
Yeah, for employees, it's all about increasing access and agency. This type of platform gives the employee now an opportunity to signal to the employer the skills they have, but also learn new things and enhance their careers with mentors on projects where they currently work. Two companies that we looked at in our study saw key benefits for the employees for finding mentors, as well as an increase in the number of new assignments that go to female applicants.
So let me ask you this, Leo. The workforce is changing. It's ever changing. Employees and employers with new people coming in each and every day, new people leaving. How do you promote a strong and engaged workforce these days?
Yeah, I think the adoption of a platform can help and can only be fully unlocked its potential, though, if it's backed by major efforts to shift the culture of the organization. That requires a consistent push by leadership to change throughout the organization, creating the incentives for the employees to participate in this process. It ultimately requires a changing mindset where the individual talent of the organization is recognized as a company asset.
Okay, and Leo, we've touched on a number of different topics here. Where can people get more information?
They can go to phoenix.edu/workforce solutions and find more.
Okay, Leo Gonsalves, VP of Workforce Solutions, University of Phoenix. Appreciate the conversation this morning, Leo. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, appreciate you being here, and I want to switch gears here. We were covering this morning just an awful situation out of Fraser, a house fire. 4 people killed in a house fire around 2 o'clock this morning on Parr Avenue, that's near Thomas. near Fraser Boulevard as well. And I want to go to our reporter that was there all morning long. We had Action News 5's Sydney Hawkins reporting live for us, and she is still on the scene this morning. And Sydney, first off, I got to say, you were great in updating us throughout the morning with various tidbits of new information that you got from the Memphis Fire Department. Can you give us just a wrap of what you know at this point about that fire, that house fire behind you? So tragic.
Just an unbelievable situation, Andrew. The Memphis Fire Department told us that the fire started around 2 o'clock this morning, and they quickly worked to get that fire out. At 2:30 this morning, this is the aftermath of that fire. This is the house that apparently housed 5 people. We know 4 people lost their lives in this fire. A 5th person is in the hospital fighting for their life. The 4 people includes 2 children, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, 33 and 62-year-old, all lost their lives in the fire. And the Memphis Fire Department said this is due to a space heater. They're not sure if the family left the space heater on throughout the night. They're investigating the specific cause of that, but they do know that this fire caused this house to be like this and these people to lose their lives, all due to a space heater.
Are you hearing me, Cindy? I'm sorry. I noticed that you talked to a number of different people out there. What were some of the neighbors saying that you were talking to there? Because this fire had been going for quite some time.
Yeah, a lot of people are just in disbelief. Some neighbors that I spoke with earlier says this is not the first fire to happen in this neighborhood. Some people that I spoke with, the Memphis Fire Department was not able to confirm this information, but there was just a dog roaming around the neighborhood. I want to show you now that the Memphis Animal Services is currently on the scene. The home that was involved in this fire has a sign that says beware of the dog. We did see another wiener dog in this area, as well as this home has a couple chickens or a few chickens in their backyard. So a lot of people, again, are just in disbelief for this family, as well as any pets, any people involved, the family members of the people who lost their lives. People are just distraught, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And that's the thing. It's like I can't imagine 4 people dying in a house fire due to a space heater. It is just one of the worst stories to cover as a journalist. I mean, it's just, just certainly something that strikes at everybody's heart here. What else are firefighters telling you? I understand that there is a person that is in the hospital right now, a 5th person. What kind of information do we have about that?
The only thing we know about that person is that that person is in critical condition, taken from this house. But the reminder that the Memphis Fire Department told me as I was here at 5:30 this morning is that this is a great reminder to make sure that you have working smoke detectors in your home. This is something that no one wants to go through early Tuesday morning. Those 2 kids that lost their lives, I imagine, would have been going to school this morning. So it's a tragic reminder to have working smoke detectors in your home, as well as the reminder that we hear when it comes to space heaters. It's something that you have to keep your eye on. You have to be diligent with. You can't keep it running overnight, and you know that you aren't supposed to plug those space heaters in extension cords. Those are supposed to go in a direct outlet. So it's just a tragic reminder for many families this morning who do use space heaters or have smoke detectors in their home to make sure that they are working.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all right. I mean, you know, space heaters certainly need space, and you need to be very careful with them. And it is, as you mentioned, a painful reminder for so many out there. City Hawkins, really appreciate your reporting this morning, and thanks for joining us on the digital desk. We'll see you soon back here at the station. Thank you. All right, so now let's take a look at our high five camera in downtown Memphis. It is going to be an incredible day today. I mean, it's going to feel like spring is in full bloom. As you can see, lots of sunshine already out there, and it is going to be like this for much of the day. The problem is there's going to be some severe weather headed our way in the next 24 to 48 hours. Meteorologist Brittany Bryant has details on that.
Good morning. Sunshine as we're starting our day. We'll keep it that way all day today. Beautiful afternoon if you want to get outside. We'll end up in the upper 70s once again. 71 degrees at noon, 77 at 3 o'clock, lower 70s at 5, and then right around 66 degrees at 7. So we'll end up 77 for the high today, as I mentioned, which is about 15 degrees above our 59-degree average. A little bit of a south wind, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to the Grizzlies game tonight, it'll be a great evening for that too. Overnight tonight, we drop down to around 57 degrees. Be a little breezy with those winds sitting around 15 miles per hour, but also about 15 degrees above normal tonight as well. So no rain in the forecast today. Wednesday morning, afternoon, mostly dry, but Wednesday night, you get some really heavy rain moves in. Rounds of rain all day Thursday with an 80% chance of rain, and still a few showers through early Friday morning. And then finally, we'll kick all of that out of here. Your chance for thunderstorms tomorrow is at about a 2 out of 5 for severe weather on the lower end, mostly for North Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. Damaging winds and hail would be the main concern with this on Wednesday night. Let's talk timing. So again, Wednesday morning, afternoon, you may see a stray shower. Notice a few little specks of green. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday as we go through time. But that line of rain doesn't really start to move in. The line with the heaviest stuff around 7 o'clock in Harrisburg, Blytheville, into Tipton, Lauderdale County, into Dyersburg, Memphis, seeing a few showers. North Mississippi, that spot that I told you has the greatest chance for something severe. Between 9 and 10 o'clock is when this moves in. So here's 10. Look at those dark reds. That's showing us some heavy rain. It'll be pouring in those spots. And again, you'll have some strong winds, maybe some large hail in spots like Clarksdale and Oxford and Corinth, also in Olive Branch and going into Shelby County and Collierville and Memphis, seeing some of those thunderstorms. You may see something severe in North Mississippi through midnight. And then after that, I no longer think we'll have any severe weather, but you will still have some rain lingering. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that heavy rain from Shelby County into Fayette County into northeast Mississippi. And again, you'll have rounds of rain all day. So morning rain, dry out for a little bit, and then more in the afternoon and evening. Thursday night, once again, the same spot where I showed you that severe weather risk on Wednesday, you'll have that same chance for severe weather in eastern Arkansas and North Mississippi, but a 3 out of 5. And that's because not only do you have that hail and wind threat, but also a threat for tornadoes. So you get more of those ingredients coming together for severe weather potential. Right now, timing for that looks like maybe starting after 6 o'clock at night Thursday. And we could see some of those storms overnight Thursday as well. So something that we'll be monitoring for you. I don't really have much to show you in the way of timing right now, just because it looks like it would be isolated severe weather. We are going to see quite a bit of rain with this as well. About 1 inch to 3 inches of rain expected through Friday morning for most of the area. And in some spots, if you get some downpours that set up over the same area for a long amount of time, you could see those totals go over 3 inches of rain. So flash flooding will be a possibility. Now, if any watches or warnings get issued, best place to go for that info is on our First Alert Weather app. You can download that for free. But like I said, today's beautiful. If you have lunch plans today, hopefully it's somewhere with a patio. 72 degrees at noon, 74 at 1 o'clock. Upper 70s today, 74 tomorrow. We're still warm actually on Thursday too, upper 60s. And then Friday afternoon, your high is 56. So temperatures drop down quite a bit behind that cold front, bringing that rain Thursday into Friday. And we're still in the upper 50s on Saturday, high of 61 on Sunday, and it's sunny and dry all weekend.
Final goodbyes for Memphis police officer Jeffrey Redd this morning before his funeral in just a few hours at Hope Church off of Walnut Grove in Cordova. That funeral set for 11 o'clock this morning. He was shot in the line of duty at the Poplar White Station Public Library in East Memphis earlier this month. He died from his injuries a few weeks later. Bria Bolden shares more on the touching tribute for one of Memphis's men in blue.
Officers from all over the Mid-South and beyond met in Memphis to say goodbye to Officer Jeffrey Redd, the fun-loving and God-fearing man of service who was a friend and mentor to many.
He's always put his first in everything he did with the job, and also he cared about a lot of people outside of the job. So he went out of his way to do things for the community, on and off duty.
Monday Sea of Blue was the Memphis Police Department's chance to say goodbye to the 15-year veteran. Officers with their blue lights on display coming from all over Shelby County, Mississippi, even Alabama to pay their respects, creating a sea of blue down Memphis streets and I-40.
Many officers that you see today or you will see today are on their own time. Many officers are not from Memphis, Shelby County. They're all here to pay their respects for our fallen officer.
Officer Redd was shot in the line of duty February 2nd at the White Station Library in East Memphis. Police and the TBI say he was trying to de-escalate a situation with a trespassing suspect. He died at Regional 1 Hospital February 18th. Visitation for Officer Redd held at his home church, Greater Community Temple Kojic, where he served as head of security and where he met his wife. They were married this past September.
He was a meaningful individual. He loved God, loved his family, and he loved his community.
Officer Redd's wife, 3 daughters, and 4 grandchildren will say goodbye to a husband, father, and grandfather Tuesday. A funeral service for Officer Redd will be held at Hope Church in Cordova Tuesday morning at 11. We will be there. Reporting in studio tonight, Bria Bolden, Action News 5.
No leads into who shot 4 people in South Memphis yesterday morning, killing 2. This happened at the intersection of Essex and Arkansas, and Memphis police search for the people responsible. 2 other people who were shot are also recovering in the hospital. One of the victims has been treated and released. The other remains in critical condition. Take a look at this month's edition of the Memphis Magazine, and it is the food issue. Of course, we've been talking all about the food issue earlier with the good folks at Memphis Magazine. It's a great issue. I certainly would pick it up. Or you can also go to memphismagazine.com and check out all the different food that they have showcased there. But this time, okay, so this interview, I want to talk about some of the CEOs that have been nominated. These are the Mid-South CEOs of the Year for 2023. Let's bring in Sam Chichi of the Memphis Magazine. He's joining us now at the Action News 5 digital desk. And Sam, these are some great CEOs in town, and they're nominated for CEO of the Year. Tell us about that.
Well, Inside Memphis Business has this award every year, and it's something we really enjoy doing, you know, honoring some of the leaders that are, you know, doing their best and showcasing immense talent to elevate their companies, elevate their employees, elevate the city overall. And, you know, it's really hard to pick these people because we get so many good candidates. Get a lot of submissions from, you know, happy employees, friends, community members who are, you know, recognizing all the good work going on. And, you know, I think we had around 25 submissions this year. So it's really hard to whittle this down, but, you know, I'm glad to be on here speaking about them. I'm happy to dive into the specifics if you want, but, you know, this really is just our chance to showcase leaders who are really making a huge impact on the city.
Yeah, Sam, so I'm looking here. These are 5 that are nominated for CEO of the Year 2023. So tell me, is this from Memphis Magazine? Is this another entity that's nominated them? And what are the what's the criteria?
No, really, we just look for a diverse array of, you know, employee sizes and types of businesses. So, you know, we want to get a good group that represents, you know, all the good things that Memphis is doing. But no, we take nominations from outside. And then once we have a good group in and have let that window run for a couple of months, we bring it into our internal team and, you know, we select a group of candidates that we think is worthy of winning the award. And like I said, it's a really tough decision. There were plenty of other folks who we got who would be just as deserving to be up on that page.
Okay, so let's go through them all right now.
Sure. To start, we have Dr. Russ Wigginton at the National Civil Rights Museum. That was an easy choice for us. The work he's doing right now is is so important. The National Civil Rights Museum is an institution in Memphis, and that museum is very well known, but he's helping them take their next step to the national stage, and that's that conversation, being able to, relate to the civil rights movement and have people from all around the country, be able to hear about this museum and have this conversation about, the civil rights movement and race in America. I think that's a super important conversation right now. And, since he took over the reins, he's really hit the ground running and, is working on, I guess, increasing awareness and making sure that, this is a resource for people all around the country, and they can continue educating people about the civil rights movement.
I gotcha. Yes, I've interviewed him. Certainly a great addition to this class.
Absolutely, and I want to move on to Russ Williams, who I personally interviewed over at Archer Malmo. I'd done some news on him a couple months ago, and I think the big thing there was that they announced that, this is maybe Memphis's oldest independent creative ad agency, and they decided to turn over ownership of it to the employees, which is pretty huge. That sounds like a great thing. Having a little stake in the company I'm working for. I think morale's been really high. They've been, hitting new revenue growths this year. Really all around, it's just it's an amazing thing that they've done, and you don't always see that kind of, giving back to your employees and making sure that they feel valued and that they're, really helping drive the company. And that's something I kind of saw with a lot of the leaders that we featured this year. There was a lot of humility, and there was a lot of focus on, the teams that were helping them, make their companies successful. And I don't think that's just, hollow words. A lot of these people are really, really emphasizing that point. I know Russ Williams specifically called it, stacking his bench with intellectual horsepower. And I think that goes a long way. I think every leader you'll see here will give a lot of credit to their teams and, the people who are helping them achieve their success and make Memphis better.
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. Okay, so we've got 2 down and 3 more to go.
Sure. Up next, Sally Hines at MIFA. It's a huge thing she's doing. Food insecurity is a pretty big issue. In a lot of cases, I think it's overlooked in the senior community, and the Meals on Wheels program is huge. It's such a great thing that they're doing. Bringing food to people who really need it, and who are likely unable to go out and get it on their own, and for one of many underlooked communities that won't always get the resources they need to really thrive and survive. So, Sally was another great candidate that we got. And I know, especially in Memphis, food deserts and food insecurity is a huge issue across the board. But the work that MIFA is doing is, a side of that isn't always recognized or catered to. So we wanted to take this opportunity to really give a platform to what they were doing. And I also think it's impressive that, Sally has taken this local initiative, and, she's been going in front of the government on a national level to raise awareness for this and, bring the focus back to Memphis and what they're doing. So another really impressive candidate that we got here.
Fantastic.
Then, we have David Waddell of Waddell and Associates. I've known David for a little while. He was a former guest columnist for IMB, but, he contributes to many other local and national publications. But he runs Waddell and Associates, his investment firm, and wow, they've been experiencing record growth over the past year. And, that's coming off the back of COVID and an economic downturn. And I was talking to him, and he was just so bullish about his business, the way they were growing, the way they were, attracting new clients. He brought in a new partner as well, to help transition the company to the next generation of leaders. He just had a lot of great things to say. And again, he has a targeted individual approach to helping his clients get what they want. I know one of the interesting anecdotes he told me and that I put in the article is that he wants all of his employees to write down what their dream is. So, his dream was to spend more time on his boat. One of his coworkers wants to buy a castle in Europe. From where I'm sitting, I don't know if that's a possibility for me, but, for his colleague, they they help set up a plan. And I think, that's the same way that they treat their clients too, just kind of, set up a specific path. It's not just about growing your wealth number. They really want to make sure that you're getting exactly what you want and set out the steps to achieve that. And I think that's resonated with a lot of people in the Mid-South, around the country as well. They have an office up in Nashville, and they have a couple satellite offices around the country too. And just the level of growth for a small local firm is quite immense. And, we're glad we can include David as well.
We want to make sure that.
And then moving on to
sorry, go ahead. This is all in the Memphis Magazine issue, the February issue, the food issue. This is talking about the top CEOs in Memphis and the Mid-South for 2023. You got one more on the list there, Sam.
That's right. Doug Brown, heads up the Peabody Hotel. He's pretty well known around town, but again, like many other businesses, hospitality was hit very, very hard by COVID, but the Peabody came out the other side, not unscathed, but doing very well, continuing on with their, spending tens of millions of dollars to renovate and modernize. And I think that's really tough to, take something that's an historic institution and, keep it relevant for so long, keep people coming back, keep it on, the top of travel lists, both nationally and internationally. And it's just incredible what they're doing over there, bringing in new restaurants as well, just revitalizing their dining scene. Doug is also someone I've worked with before. And, as you can see, he's assisted by his canine sidekick Tango in there, who spends a lot of time in the office. It's always great to see him too when I visit.
He's fantastic. He's a fantastic guy. I know him personally as well, and just a solid, quality guy. I always call him the most interesting man in Memphis because he's a pilot. He's a ballroom dancing champion. I mean, he does all these kind of things. Bilingual, speaks Spanish fluently. He's a great storyteller too. So what happens with these five? Is there someone that is eventually named the CEO of the year, or is it just these five? How does it work?
No, these are all our CEOs of the year. Traditionally we pick four. I think after COVID, we decided to switch it up a little bit. There was one year where we decided to just honor all the big hospital CEOs in the area. And after that, we thought, we're getting so many good submissions, and we don't want to leave anyone left out who we think is deserving. Unfortunately, we do still have to do that, but we thought we could kick that number up a little bit, and we settled on just adding an extra and honoring 5 different CEOs who are, representing different parts of Memphis, different businesses, different missions. And I think it's just a great platform to, highlight the great work that they're doing. And building on that, we have our awards breakfast on March 7th at the Memphis Botanic Gardens. You can read more about that event on our website. We do sell tickets, but, we will present each of these winners with an award. And rather than, hearing me talk about them, they'll get up on the podium and talk a little bit about what they do and, why they do what they do. And I think it's really valuable to get in that room and, get their insight and hear from all these really, really successful and talented people.
I think that's a great list, Sam. I mean, really just titans in Memphis and the Mid-South, and it was someone out there, all of our viewers have either been touched or know, or their family members represented by some of those CEOs. Either they've come across their work or they've been influenced by their work, what have you. Just great stuff there. So you could read more about it again at Memphis Magazine, memphismagazine.com. Sam, as always, we appreciate you joining us on the digital desk. Thanks very much.
Of course, thank you.
Okay, each and every month we like to look back on various trends, what's happening in various facets of our lives, society, entertainment, sports, culture, that sort of thing. And to do that, we always bring in a Google expert to really kind of give us an idea of what people are searching for during any given month, or perhaps the Super Bowl. We have right now Elizabeth Howard, a Google Trends expert, with us, joining us now on the digital desk. Elizabeth, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate you being here. So I'm looking at some of these trends here, and I would think, we talked immediately after the Super Bowl, some of the different trends people were searching for, and it looks like when it comes to entertainment, of course, Rihanna and some other Super Bowl trends were at the top of the charts.
Yes, absolutely. Entertainment was a huge category this month. Rihanna stole the show at the Super Bowl. So sorry for the two football teams who played, but Rihanna was the top search. And in specifically Tennessee, we saw Stay as the top search song during the Super Bowl for Rihanna. And we also saw her partner A$AP Rocky was the top celebrity search during the Super Bowl. So that was a unique search that we were surprised to see as well.
Yeah, and you know, I had a meme that I posted afterwards, and it was making fun of people kind of looking at the screen saying, is Rihanna pregnant? And it turns out that's one of the search items, Rihanna pregnant or not.
Yes, it is. It was the most searched item as soon as she started her Super Bowl performance, and she did confirm her second pregnancy. And so her second pregnancy was the most searched topic the day after the Super Bowl as well. So she had people talking for quite a few days.
No question, Elizabeth. Something else, I'm looking at the list here, a couple things that kind of stood out to me, and it may be something I've missed. The science aspects, Colorado River was the highest search in the science category for the month of February. And then the UFOs, when it comes to odd news, UFOs really searched in the month of February. Bring us up to date. Where are these coming from?
Sure. So Colorado River is experiencing a 2-decade-long drought, and people are really concerned about their water supply. So we saw a lot of searches around where does the Colorado River start? Where does it end? What states does it touch? Is it drying out? What does the water supply look like? And so we saw people concerned about that. But then on the other side of science, we also saw unidentified foreign objects pop up in our search trends as well. And the top search in that category is what is in the sky. So people were very interested in what's flying around in the sky. We saw people search for aliens and are aliens real? And one of the unique searches in Tennessee is all across the United States, every state was searching for the movie Alien except Tennessee, who was searching for the movie Predator. So everyone in Tennessee really beat out the rest of the United States searching for the Predator movie.
That's interesting. I love seeing weird stuff like that. And I guess the Chinese balloon issue was one of the reasons that probably people started searching for UFOs and different things out in the sky. NBA All-Star Weekend, I see that was a big search with LeBron James getting the scoring record, too.
Yes, absolutely. And we saw all across the United States people searching for Team LeBron versus Team Giannis. And in Tennessee, big Team LeBron fan. So, and pretty much I will say, no offense to Team Giannis, but I think most of the United States was Team LeBron during that weekend.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Of course, we had two Memphis Grizzlies playing in the All-Star game this year, so that was, I know a lot of people, at least in the Memphis area, certainly watched that. What else can you tell us about it? I see when it came to food, National Pizza Day topped the charts, huh?
Yes, February 9th, one of the greatest holidays, National Pizza Day. And of course, you know, the great debate going around is New York style or Chicago style. And in Tennessee, definitely New York style. We actually saw quite a divide amongst the United States. The lower half of the United States was very much a New York style pizza people. And then the northern half was Chicago style. So really, however you celebrated, you can't go wrong there, though.
You know, it's interesting, you know, Valentine's Day, of course, search there. And on Valentine's Day, you guys have it in various subcategories like searches for Galentine's Day, self-love, single awareness day. And then the top, is it weird to alone? Is it weird to go to a bar alone, a concert alone, restaurant, movie? That's
That's
weird to me, or odd, or I don't know. Is it?
Well, this year we did see a lot of searches that moved out of just the romantic Valentine's Day searches. So we did see, what are some Galentine's cocktails to make? Is it weird to go to dinner alone? Is it weird to go to a movie theater alone? But one of the most interesting things that I thought was, for a romantic Valentine's Day date, is people were searching for cities to escape to for the weekend. And Orlando was the top most searched city in Tennessee. And if you maybe didn't go to Orlando but wanted to stay in Tennessee, a spa retreat was the top date idea for those hanging around the state for Valentine's Day.
Interesting. I always love breaking it down, these Google Trend searches. Tell us, Elizabeth, where people can find it on their own.
Sure. Anyone can access these trends at google.com/trends, and you can search by specific categories, specific locations, a specific time of day. So I really encourage anyone to check it out. You will be very surprised at the things that pop up.
You can go down a rabbit hole and really be like totally fascinated on like what people are searching. Elizabeth Howard, really appreciate the time this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. Sunshine as we're starting our day. We'll keep it that way all day today. Beautiful afternoon if you want to get outside. We'll end up in the upper 70s once again. 71 degrees at noon, 77 at 3 o'clock, lower 70s at 5, and then right around 66 degrees at 7. So we'll end up 77 for the high today, as I mentioned, which is about 15 degrees above our 59-degree average. A little bit of a south wind, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to the Grizzlies game tonight, it'll be a great evening for that too. Overnight tonight, we drop down to around 57 degrees. Be a little breezy with those winds sitting around 15 miles per hour, but also about 15 degrees above normal tonight as well. So no rain in the forecast today. Wednesday morning, afternoon, mostly dry, but Wednesday night you get some really heavy rain moves in. Rounds of rain all day Thursday with an 80% chance of rain, and still a few showers through early Friday morning. And then finally we'll kick all of that out of here. Your chance for thunderstorms tomorrow is at about a 2 out of 5 for severe weather on the lower end, mostly for North Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. Damaging winds and hail would be the main concern with this on Wednesday night. Let's talk timing. So again, Wednesday morning, afternoon, you may see a stray shower. Notice a few little specks of green. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday as we go through time. But that line of rain doesn't really start to move in. The line with the heaviest stuff around 7 o'clock in Harrisburg, Blytheville, into Tipton, Lauderdale County, into Dyersburg, Memphis, seeing a few showers. North Mississippi, that spot that I told you has the greatest chance for something severe. Between 9 and 10 o'clock is when this moves in. So here's 10. Look at those dark reds. That's showing us some heavy rain. It'll be pouring in those spots. And again, you'll have some strong winds, maybe some large hail in spots like Clarksdale and Oxford and Corinth, also in Olive Branch, and going into Shelby County and Collierville and Memphis, seeing some of those thunderstorms. You may see something severe in North Mississippi through midnight. And then after that, I no longer think we'll have any severe weather, but you will still have some rain lingering. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that heavy rain from Shelby County into Fayette County into northeast Mississippi. And again, you'll have rounds of rain all day. So morning rain, dry out for a little bit, and then more in the afternoon and evening. Thursday night, once again, the same spot where I showed you that severe weather risk on Wednesday, you'll have that same chance for severe weather in eastern Arkansas and North Mississippi, but a 3 out of 5. And that's because not only do you have that hail and wind threat, but also a threat for tornadoes. So you get more of those ingredients coming together for severe weather potential. Right now, timing for that looks like maybe starting after 6 o'clock at night Thursday, and we could see some of those storms overnight Thursday as well. So something that we'll be monitoring for you. I don't really have much to show you in the way of timing right now, just because it looks like it would be isolated severe weather. We are going to see quite a bit of rain with this as well, about 1 inch to 3 inches of rain expected through Friday morning for most of the area. And in some spots, if you get some downpours that set up over the same area for a long amount of time, you could see those totals go over 3 inches of rain. So flash flooding will be a possibility. Now, if any watches or warnings get issued, best place to go for that info is on our First Alert weather app. You can download that for free. But like I said, today's beautiful. If you have lunch plans today, hopefully it's somewhere with a patio. 72 degrees at noon, 74 at 1 o'clock. Upper 70s today, 74 tomorrow. We're still warm actually on Thursday. Thursday too, upper 60s. And then Friday afternoon, your high is 56. So temperatures drop down quite a bit behind that cold front, bringing that rain Thursday into Friday. And we're still in the upper 50s on Saturday, high of 61 on Sunday, and it's sunny and dry all weekend.
Okay, I want to tell you something that our friend Talisa Franklin mentioned last week, I believe. She mentioned this stage play coming to the Cannon Center downtown. It says she went to college to get an education. She came back with a life lesson. The production is called Something She Can Feel, and we are joined right now by the director, Terrell Munger, Pastor Terrell Munger. Pastor, how are you? Good morning.
I am absolutely phenomenal. I'm a morning person, so this is my time.
Awesome, awesome. I'm going to meet you right where you are because I'm feeling the same way. I appreciate you joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. So tell us what Something She Can Feel is all about.
Well, it's really using entertainment to kind of shift and influence. One of me and my wife's favorite terms is we want to normalize being in love again. And that feeling of being in love, it helps you in so many areas. I'm sure people can relate that when you have a relationship issues, it's hard for you to focus at work. It's hard for you to sleep at night. But when your relationship is healthy and you have a person that supports you, it just seems like it brings out the best in you. So we use this stage play to kind of paint that picture. Most of the people that I've talked to went through a heartbreak in their college age years, and it changed how they saw the world. Some of them never even recovered, and they don't trust men or they don't trust women. So we use this stage play. It's funny, it's entertaining, but it's a therapeutic point to look at where you are in your heart so you can fix your relationships. And I'm trying to do with this generation what shows like A Different World did for my generation. Just use entertainment to inject some positive vibes into the city. We need it. And we use this stage play and this whole theme of the college experience to create that atmosphere to inspire people in life and in love.
I love it. I love the idea. It sounds great. And I see that some of the names of people that are in this play, Pastor, this is a Memphis play in more ways than one, right? Tell me about it.
It is. It's a Memphis play, and I've been writing stage plays for about 8 years now, and I've been fortunate to have a lot of sellout performances, a lot of great participation. Some of the people that I grew up with in the rap industry back when I used to rap when I was younger have always supported it. A couple of them have even been in some of my plays. And while I'm pastoring a church and doing so much, I've released like 6 books, but I haven't done a stage play in a while. And I thought this would be a great time with everything that's going on in the city to just inject some of this positivity. It's funny, and it deals with something that a lot of people know about, but they don't pay attention to. Most women have emotional needs, and men use those emotional needs to manipulate women. And a lot of times they don't even realize they're being manipulated until they got caught up in the web. So I use this stage play to not only help women look out for some of those red flags, but to help some men see what they're doing to some women. So it's really a learning point, it's a funny point, and it's a therapeutic point.
That sounds fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to checking it out. So give us the details about it. It's early next month. It's going to be at the Cannon Center. How much are tickets, and where people can get those tickets?
Yeah, I definitely work to make the tickets very affordable. The tickets are $55 for the down front VIP section, $45 general admission. Is going to be at the Cannon Center, March 4th at 6 p.m. Of course, you can get your tickets on Ticketmaster. You can also get your tickets and see more information about these productions at tntworld.org. We call it TNT World because my name's Terrell. background. My wife's name Tiffany, and we even went through some relationship challenges ourselves that almost ended in divorce about 4 years ago. So we took the lessons we've learned to try to help other people. And so we had to blow up our individual worlds and create a world that made sense for us. And we believe other people can do the same. That's why we call it TNT World Production. You can see it at tntworld.org.
Fantastic. I love it. So this is March 4th. It's only one day. Is that right?
It's one day and it's a whole experience. We have a lot of the Greek organizations coming out. We have the Craigmont Marching Band is going to open it up, coming through the lobbies with the drum majors and the majorettes. It's going to be a huge, huge, huge event that you just have to experience. It's more than a stage play. This is a total experience.
I love it. I love it, Pastor. Okay, one more time for our audience there. This is Something She Can Feel, stage play at the Cannon Center downtown, March 4th. One night only, March 4th, and it's for everybody. It's for the whole family, right?
Correct. It's a family-oriented stage play, and it really helps you to not only value each other's journey, but it brings you closer to see the differences between men and women to strengthen your relationship. So if you got young daughters, if you got young men, they need to see it now before they run into those college-age experiences that damage how they see the world. So it's something great to talk about, like we used to sit in front of the TV together. Back in the day, you get to sit in the same room and enjoy the same experiences to have some conversations about it.
I love everything you're saying, Pastor. Really appreciate your time this morning. Best of luck. Congratulations on the stage play. We look forward to hearing more about its success after March 4th. Appreciate you joining us. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thousands of customers of American Car Center are trying to figure out next steps after the business abruptly closed over the weekend. Action News 5's Walter Murphy spoke with some who fear their financial stability is speeding off into the distance.
Well, we've had a lot of customers reach out to us over the last few days asking that same question, but they all tell us that when they started calling the customer service hotline on Friday, just like the American Car Center overall, it was shut down.
My payments are not behind. They're paid on time. They're paid in full, no partial payments or anything.
And Alma Williams-Lindsay says she wants to keep it that way, but with a payment due this Friday and no clue who to send it to, she's lost. On top of that, the car she's making payments on, financed through American Finance, which is owned by American Car Center, is finally ready to come out of the repair shop after 5 months. The bad news, the check her insurance company sent her to pay for the repairs has the defunct company's name listed.
So you really got me in a hard, in a really bad predicament. It's due to come out the shop, but it can't because nobody's here to sign my insurance check.
A predicament that Stephanie Berry, who was one of the 288 employees laid off from the American Car Center's corporate headquarters, says is par for the course for her former employer.
It was subprime deals and it was subprime service too. They really took advantage of the customer in a lot of ways.
American Car Center and American Finance was a subprime lender. Many of their customers went to them if they had problems getting a car loan from other companies. And now those same customers are left high and dry.
They could have given the customer more options. And I believe that's going to be evident in how these customers were left.
Berry says she's running into more problems applying for unemployment benefits. The Mississippi Department of Employment Security told her American Car Center never reported her earned wages, making her ineligible for unemployment benefits in Mississippi. She also can't apply in Tennessee because it's not her home.
So I'm in between a rock and a hard place. I don't have unemployment benefits through either state at this point.
We reached out to the Better Business Bureau to see if they had any advice. They say that if you have a story similar to these two women, to reach out to them immediately. Reporting in Whitehaven, I'm Walter Murphy, Action News 5.
Okay, we're following car break-ins at a church over the weekend. The pastor of Gifts of Life Ministries tells us vehicles were broken into in broad daylight, a first for their Raleigh campus. The crimes follow a Shelby County Commissioners Summit taking place just a few miles down the road one day prior.
Tell the community to come together. We need the parents, pastors, police, politicians, proprietors, and partners to be connecting to get together around bringing unity in the community. When they see that we're more working together in our community to bring down crime, I believe that'll begin to mitigate it.
If anyone has information connected to the car break-ins, please call or text Crime Stoppers. You can remain anonymous. That number is 901-528-CASH. The FBI sounding the alarm on a growing trend, scammers targeting victims in an online romance scam and pressuring them to invest in cryptocurrency. Cole Higgins has a warning from one man who became a victim and what you should watch out for.
A concerning trend involving online romance and crypto scams, prompting both federal and state officials to take action to protect consumers.
What they don't realize is at a certain moment, these people are going to wipe that out and the money's gone.
According to a preliminary internet crime report from the FBI, a growing number of scammers are using cryptocurrency as bait to lure in victims in romance scams and other fraud schemes.
You see these false promises of easy money being combined with people's limited knowledge or limited experience with cryptocurrency. And it sets it up for really the perfect storm for a scam.
The FBI says more than 19,000 victims reported losing over $739 million to romance scammers last year. The agency says the trend is growing and it anticipates a higher number of reported financial losses from crypto scams this year. Dennis Corey says a romance chat that turned into a crypto trading partnership left him hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt in just 1 month.
Emotionally drained, physically drained, psychologically drained.
Corey says when he tried to get his money out, he was told he had to pay supposed taxes and other fees. Corey says he took out loans, advances on credit cards, and wiped out his savings to pay off his debt.
I just want to make it out there public so people will be aware and not to get involved in this.
Meanwhile, the growing concern prompting officials in California to launch a crypto scam tracker. It's a new website designed to help Californians spot and avoid crypto scams. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
TikTok may soon be banned from all U.S. government-issued devices, according to the White House yesterday. Federal agencies and those they contract with have 30 days to remove the app. More than half of all U.S. states have partially or fully banned TikTok on government devices due to its connection with the Chinese Communist Party. As a possible recession looms, nonprofit credit counselors are advising people to prepare in the event of a layoff. Rachel DePompa has more from an expert about how you can ready yourself for the unexpected.
Losing an income to a layoff is an overwhelming thought for most people. There are natural questions. How do you pay bills and juggle creditors? Which money decisions are the most important? Jackie Boyce is Senior Director of Partner Relations at Money Management International. That's a nonprofit credit counseling agency. She says because the economy is so questionable, you should have a plan in place just in case the worst happens and you are laid off, especially if you start to hear those rumblings that layoffs are coming in your company. Don't stick your head in the sand. The first step is prioritizing your home.
The roof over your head, whether you're a renter or a home buyer, is going to be most important in the event of a layoff. You have other creditors that you probably owe money to, and you'll want to make contact with those folks and let them know your current situation.
Follow up on any requests for documentation or information and just work with your individual creditors on a plan. In many cases, those companies will be able to help you through a hardship program.
Your credit card may have insurance on it that will cover payments on it while you are unemployed. Your mortgage definitely has options for you to assist with payments when you're laid off or unemployed.
Even a landlord, if you're a renter, may have some sort of program to help you cover a period of time when you're unemployed or underemployed. And if you need help and you feel overwhelmed, you can always reach out to a credit counselor. They're not going to tell you what to do, but they can see your overall financial situation and help you make practical decisions. With This Watch in Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
All right, the FAA is awarding over $14 million to Memphis International Airport. It's part of the airport terminal program to help airports all across the country expand terminal capacity, promote competition, and improve accessibility for passengers. The money will fund a portion of Memphis's terminal modernization program, which involves increasing the size of the terminal, renovating the ticket and baggage areas, and expanding the security checkpoint, among other enhancements. Landers Center in South Haven going cashless. That starts tomorrow. The venue's new cashless policy will be in effect. That means you can use debit, credit cards, as well as Apple, Google, or Samsung Pay. It says it's to improve the speed of service at concession stands and other interaction points inside the venue. Okay, during the winter months, we have to worry about a lot of things. We have to worry about our pets, our plants, and our pipes, of course, during those freezing conditions. We also got to worry about those trees. You know, those trees out there. Are they dead? Is it just winter? Are the leaves going to come back in the spring? A lot of questions out there for some people who may or may not know what's exactly going on, and that's why we're bringing in our arborist, Nathan Baker from Jones Brothers Tree and Landscape. He's back on the digital desk with us this morning. Nathan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks. So, you know, a lot of times on my way home, I will see some of the trees that I guess are used for almost like a fence a little bit. You know, I guess they're of the pine tree variety, and a lot of them are dead. And I wonder, my wife and I were wondering, is it because they were planted during a certain time and we had that hard freeze right around Christmas time, that Christmas weekend? How do we know when it's dead or when it's just hibernating, for lack of a better term?
All right, so there's a couple things you can do. And as far as your first point, asking about, you know, timing for planting, really the winter months are a great time to plant trees because the roots have a chance to harden off. So that's not going to be part of it. But how you can check these trees is you can go and you can scratch with like a fingernail or a key or a little knife, just a tiny spot on the stems. And if you see green underneath that outer layer of bark, that tells you that the tree is alive inside there. You may have some whole limbs that are dead, but it might not be the entire tree that's dead. So that's one of the first ways that you can check.
Okay, that's good. That's good. So, what are some other, you know, kind of good rules to just kind of follow when it comes to whether a tree is gone or a tree is still salvageable?
Okay, so there's going to be kind of 3 signs that your trees are in serious trouble. Okay, so the first would be if the trunk, so that main stem, if that has a split in it or if it shows peeling bark. The second would be weakness from the freeze could cause branches or even whole trees to fall down on your property. And in the last, 2 weeks or so, we've seen a good bit of that with the whole tree failure and trees falling over. And the third thing would be to look for multiple branches with no living buds. Okay, so one important thing to know is that your evergreen trees and shrubs may have lost foliage this year, and the leaves that remain may look brown or burned, and this is to be expected whenever the temperatures dropped as low as they did. We had, around 2 degrees, and when you take into consideration the wind chill, we're talking well below 0, and the trees in Memphis just are not used to that kind of cold. But that doesn't necessarily mean that your tree is doomed. But when you also notice the major issues, it's time to consult with an arborist.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what is the worst kind of weather that that is so harmful for some of the trees? Is it, an excess of water and some of the heavy storms that we've been dealing with, or is it the freezing conditions we had, for example, Christmas weekend? I mean, is it both?
It's really a combination of all of them, right? So if we have a lot of rain and the ground gets saturated and soft, then you have some winds come through, it can topple trees very easily. And then if we have freezing rain, which we've also experienced, you could have limbs breaking or whole tree failure. And then the very low temperatures will cause individual limbs or buds to die on these trees.
Okay, so now let's say, I go and I find out that there are, several trees that are dead. Now what do we do? Give us the next steps.
Okay, so think about your shrubs that are usually green all year. So you're talking about the evergreen trees planted in a row. Those are green all year. Could be holly trees, could be little cypress trees or arborvitaes. Now, if they have brown leaves, the name of the game is waiting. So we may not know until spring that these trees may be dead. They may leaf back out. And then another thing to keep in mind is that if you have flowering shrubs like azaleas or magnolias, is a lot of those blooms may not happen this year because of the freeze damage, but the shrub or the tree may still live throughout the season. So it might need just that one recovery year before it can really start giving that good color again.
All really good ideas and really good advice, Nathan. Is there anything else that we can touch on with regards to this topic that our viewers who are watching should know?
Okay. So there's some general kind of maintenance that you should keep in mind. I would look at mulching, right? So if you have properly mulched, so you want to get, a 2 to 3 inch layer of mulch around the tree, but you don't want it directly up against the trunk. You want to have about kind of 1 to 2 inch gap directly around the trunk of the tree. And if you mulch that can help keep the soil moisture at proper levels. Now, right now, that doesn't seem like a big issue, right? Because we're getting plenty of rain. The ground is wet. But now, once we hit summer months, this is going to help because these trees will have the soil moisture that they need to grow and to keep thriving. If you see major damage, such as cracked trunks, cracked limbs, it would be a good idea to get an arborist to evaluate that tree and help you safely remove those limbs if needed.
Okay. Well, listen, Nathan Baker, we really appreciate you, Jones Brothers Tree and Landscape Arborist. Thanks so much. Great insight this morning. We appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me on.
9 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's going to be a great day. Lots of sunshine. It's going to feel warm outside. It's going to feel like spring. And it's a great day also because we got Talisa Franklin on the line here at the Digital Desk. Good morning, Talisa. What's going on?
Oh, man, amazing. Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
It was quite a weekend last weekend. The events that you were mentioning were in full effect, huh?
Absolutely. This weekend was a great weekend just to see our elected officials leading events that is of service of building people up. This weekend I had the pleasure of being with Commissioner Charlie Caswell, his 7 Ps event. So many amazing people came out that was doing absolutely incredible things for the kingdom. And I'm so excited. So many of the leaders took away their Saturday to pour into our community. And that's what it's going to take to heal our community. So I just want to say shout out to Commissioner Charlie Caswell and the entire team that took the initiative and say, I'm going to do something about our community. And that what happens at this big community event that was on Saturday. And not only did we have that commissioner doing something great, Commissioner Henry Brooks was doing an amazing event with a Black History Conversation. It was for all Black women. I had the pleasure of being the moderator of that event. And that event was able to address issues that only women, we can talk through them and work through them and see how the women are progressing. And then you had an opportunity to see 14 elected officials that were women on a panel share their journey. When I tell you the journey was amazing, you saw how women were able to let their tears out, to let their voices be heard. And even for the women that was in the audience, they even felt the feeling of, yes, this happened. We're having a good time. Some things didn't feel well, but because of women, we are tenacious and we don't give up. And so shout out to every one of those elected officials that came out on the Saturday, the females and the males that was a Charlie event. And it just makes me feel good to say we have these newly elected county commissioners that just came in, Commissioner Henry Brooks, Commissioner Charlie Caswell. They put on 2 stellar events on one Saturday that benefited the whole Shelby County. So shout out to the commissioners and to their commissioners that supported their events. Shout out to them because it just shows me a person that we have a Shelby County Board of Commissioners that truly works together, that love each other and love to see the good of our city and county come together as one. And so listen, just shout out to them. And then I wanted to make note, because of those commissioners, our young people are about to end school, and there's so many opportunities, and I want to bring up an opportunity for the Democratic women that is actually given a scholarship, and you have until the end of March. So parents, I am asking you to reach out and get the information. You can check my personal page. There is a scholarship that's happening, and we want women to make sure they apply for that. These young ladies have so many great opportunities in life, and we would just want to make sure that we're helping them. And then, of course, don't forget the HBCU experience on next week. Shout out to Corey Allen, Larry Dotson Jr., and the entire team that's put together with over 35 HBCUs to come to Memphis to offer great opportunities for our children to get a higher education. So it's just a great day, Andrew, I must say, of all the great things we have going on in our city.
Do you ever take a day off, Talisa? You are always working, girl.
You know, I get joy of working, helping others, and serving people. I do take off. I'll sit down and cross my legs and just enjoy life and reflect. And half the time I'm saying, okay, now what can I do to make somebody else's life better? And I just believe, Andrew, God has put us on this earth, not for us to just be engulfed in self-indulgence of ourselves, but to be a blessing to others. And that's what I enjoy, seeing people's lives blessed.
God blesses you so you could be a blessing to others. Talisa Franklin, I love it.
Absolutely.
I love you and love everything that you're doing. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you now. Bye-bye.
Good morning. Sunshine as we're starting our day. We'll keep it that way all day today. Beautiful afternoon if you want to get outside. We'll end up in the upper 70s once again. 71 degrees at noon, 77 at 3 o'clock, lower 70s at 5, and then right around 66 degrees at 7. So we'll end up 77 for the high today, as I mentioned, which is about 15 degrees above our 59-degree average. A little bit of a south wind, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to the Grizzlies game tonight, it'll be a great evening for that too. Overnight tonight, we drop down to around 57 degrees. It'll be a little breezy with those winds sitting around 15 miles per hour, but also about 15 degrees above normal tonight as well. So no rain in the forecast today. Wednesday morning, afternoon, mostly dry, but Wednesday night, you get some really heavy rain moves in. Rounds of rain all day Thursday with an 80% chance of rain, and still a few showers through early Friday morning. And then finally, we'll kick all of that out of here. Your chance for thunderstorms tomorrow is at about a 2 out of 5 for severe weather on the lower end, mostly for North Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. Damaging winds and hail would be the main concern with this on Wednesday night. Let's talk timing. So again, Wednesday morning, afternoon, you may see a stray shower. Notice a few little specks of green. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday as we go through time. But that line of rain doesn't really start to move in. The line with the heaviest stuff around 7 o'clock in Harrisburg, Blytheville, into Tipton, Lauderdale County, into Dyersburg, Memphis, seeing a few showers. North Mississippi, that spot that I told you has the greatest chance for something severe. Between 9 and 10 o'clock is when this moves in. So here's 10. Look at those dark reds. That's showing us some heavy rain. It'll be pouring in those spots. And again, you'll have some strong winds, maybe some large hail in spots like Clarksdale and Oxford and Corinth, also in Olive Branch, and going into Shelby County and Collierville and Memphis, seeing some of those thunderstorms. You may see something severe in North Mississippi through midnight. And then after that, I no longer think we'll have any severe weather, but you will still have some rain lingering. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that heavy rain from Shelby County into Fayette County into northeast Mississippi. And again, you'll have rounds of rain all day. So morning rain, dry out for a little bit, and then more in the afternoon and evening. Thursday night, once again, the same spot where I showed you that severe weather risk on Wednesday, you'll have that same chance for severe weather in eastern Arkansas and North Mississippi, but a 3 out of 5. And that's because not only do you have that hail and wind threat, but also a threat for tornadoes. So you get more of those ingredients coming together for severe weather potential. Right now, timing for that looks like maybe starting after 6 o'clock at night Thursday, and we could see some of those storms overnight Thursday as well. So something that we'll be monitoring for you. I don't really have much to show you in the way of timing right now, just because it looks like it would be isolated severe weather. We are going to see quite a bit of rain with this as well, about 1 inch to 3 inches of rain expected through Friday morning for most of the area. And in some spots, if you get some downpours that set up over the same area for a long amount of time, you could see those totals go over 3 inches of rain. So flash flooding will be a possibility. Now, if any watches or warnings get issued, best place to go for that info is on our First Alert weather app. You can download that for free. But like I said, today's beautiful. If you have lunch plans today, hopefully it's somewhere with a patio. 72 degrees at noon, 74 at 1 o'clock. Upper 70s today, 74 tomorrow. We're still warm actually on Thursday too, upper 60s. And then Friday afternoon, your high is 56. So temperatures drop down quite a bit behind that cold front, bringing that rain Thursday into Friday. And we're still in the upper 50s on Saturday, high of 61 on Sunday, and it's sunny and dry all weekend.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Electric vehicles. Let's talk about them for a minute. They're gaining in popularity, but even though you're going to see more electric vehicles out on the roadways, many consumers still have a lot of questions on whether or not electric vehicles are right for them. Let's bring in James Bell. He's head of corporate communications for Kia America. Good morning, James. How's it going?
Good morning to you. I'm playing with cars. It's a good day.
Yeah, tell me first off, where are you and what you're sitting in front of there? Looks like an EV.
Yes, you're right. I'm in Southern California where we're getting ready for the big blizzard. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is what's called our EV6 GT. This one's a really special one. Has about 576 horsepower. It is 0 to 60 in a little over 3 seconds. Takes on and beats a lot of Ferraris and Lamborghinis. So we're pretty excited about this car, and people seem to be loving it too. It's been on sale for about a year now, and we can't make them fast enough.
So tell me more about the idea of electric cars, because there's so many people that are very apprehensive to go to EV vehicles, or EVs, I should say, because they're just used to gas powered. There's more flexibility. There's a lot more autonomy, according to some people that have gas powered vehicles. What would be your best argument for EVs?
You know what? It's not even an argument. It's just recognition of this phase that we're in. I like to equate it back to what it must have been like when people went from horse-drawn carriages to gasoline-powered cars. You know, there was a lot of folks that said, well, this gasoline thing will never work. There's not a gas station on every corner. This is, I just feed my horse hay and away it goes. We're in that same kind of premise right now with this transition time. I think, however, we're going to see the transition happen a lot quicker. So if somebody, has an incredibly long commute or needs to drive to grandma's house on a regular basis, then maybe a gasoline-powered car is the best choice today. But in a very short amount of time, the electric vehicles are going to be a better option. And by the way, for most Americans, which drive on the average about 28 to 30 miles a day, imagine if you never had to go to the gas station again. Imagine every time you left your home, you had so we call it a full tank of gas or a full state of charge. It's a very luxurious experience. And I think once people try it, they recognize that this is probably a better option for their families. But again, this is transitional. We're not just going to suddenly get rid of all gasoline stations and gasoline powered vehicles. We're in a transition time. And over time, it will eventually evolve towards electric.
You know, there's a lot of questions, James, about the power grid. I don't know if you could speak to that, but, a lot of people concerned about the power grid being able to handle the demand of electric vehicles. If there is this demand and it increases over time, there's a lot of people that say the power grid just can't handle it.
Well, I think they're being a little short-sighted there. The industry, the government, the entire infrastructure system recognizes that this is the future. It's going to happen, folks. It's going to get that way, but it's not going to just happen tomorrow. There's going to be investment. There's going to be upgrading in facilities. It was newsworthy back in the summertime here in Southern California. We had a series of very warm days, and there was a short period of time when the government, state government said, please back off use of too much electric power. And then that suddenly became, now I can't charge my car. It's an isolated incident, very, very rare. And I think it is not recognizing the fact that there is this huge multi-billion-dollar investment going on in the infrastructure to prepare for this day when we all drive electric. Because again, this day is coming. It's not tomorrow. It's not in 5 years, but it's coming.
A lot of people concerned about, one, how long it takes to charge a vehicle, and two, the distance that people will travel with one charge.
Sure.
There have been a number of different independent journalists that have taken, for example, other vehicles, trucks and that sort of thing to various charging stations. It takes forever, or there's an extraordinary long wait in line for a charger to become available, and then once you get there, it takes forever for that battery to be charged. Tell me about the vehicle that you're sitting in front of.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So we're really proud at Kia. All of our electric vehicles have what's called 800-volt charging systems available. So built in is the ability to basically take on a level 3 charger, of which the number of those is incredibly increasing all across the country. It can go from a 10% state of charge to over 80% in about 18 minutes. Now, stop and think for a moment. When you go to the gas station, you plug in the nozzle, walk into the station, get a Gatorade, go to the restroom, get a snack, come back, maybe throw away some garbage, clean the windows. It's probably a 10 to 12 to 15 minute project anyway. So I think once we see this level 3 charging, again, which the Kia vehicle is already prepared for, that will really wash away some of that. But again, I know the kind of journalist trips that you're talking about. It does take a little more time and coordination to use a vehicle on, say, in a long distance or a cross-country trip today. And that's why gasoline-powered cars are still here, and they will continue to be here for some time in the future. But we're in this phase. We're going towards that place. And I think, have me back on your show in 3 or 4 years, and I think that concern about having charging stations available and ability to high-speed charge, or what's called level 3, will be in a much more advanced place than it is today. And that's the nature of transitional times.
How long does a charge last? How many miles? And how much does that car retail for?
Well, we have several different versions of this vehicle. This one gets about 250 miles on a charge, but again, this is faster than many Porsches and Ferraris. So this is a special one. But we have another version called the Wind and the EV6 GT line, which average about 280 to 320 miles on a charge. And that's more than enough. As I mentioned earlier, average American drives about 28 miles per day. So as you can see, you wouldn't even need to charge every day to use a vehicle that has in excess of 300 miles of range on a full charge.
All right, James. Well, listen, we appreciate your time. Thanks for
Sure.
talking with us about electric vehicles and the landscape and how it looks to be changing over the course of the next several years. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to tell you about Camp Say. It is a free 2-day performing arts camp for young people who stutter. It is a place where every young person is celebrated for who they are and given as much time as they need to express themselves fully. And these are some of the pictures from the camp in years past. I want to bring in Jennifer McGrath, Vice President of Education and Community Engagement at the Orpheum Theater Group, to talk more about Camp Say. Jennifer, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing very well, thanks. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're with us. So tell us about Camp Say.
Well, like you said, Camp Say is a program that we've been running here in Memphis since 2018 at the Orpheum, and we work in partnership with an organization called SAY, the Stuttering Association for the Young, based out of New York City, and we host this, as you described, this 2-day free mini camp for young people who stutter, where they are given as much time as they need to speak and express themselves fully through all sorts of creative practices and mostly around community building. Essentially, what we're saying is that we think you speak beautifully exactly as you speak, and we want to hold time and space for you to come together with other young people who also stutter, and we want to hear what you have to say and how you learn to express yourself.
How long has it been going on, and what has been the response when you guys have after the camp?
Yeah, so, well, the organization SAY in New York City has been around since 2001, believe it or not. And we began this program, this satellite program here in Memphis in 2018. So I actually just checked that this spring will be our 9th session of Camp Say. And it's super exciting because, to answer your question, a lot of the young people that are coming to this program, maybe have never met another young person who stutters. Maybe they feel like they are completely alone, like they're the only one, that they're hesitant or nervous to speak up, right? And to answer your question, in just 2 short days, they've suddenly built and developed this whole community of people that are just like them. They've made new friends, they've had a ton of fun, and they've been able to express themselves and share all the incredible gifts that are inside of all of them just by holding a little bit of extra time for them to speak. So I think what's really incredible is that in 48 hours, we see a tremendous journey, a tremendous boost in confidence, a tremendous networking that develops. And we also hold space for the parents and caregivers of the young people to come together and talk about what it means to be raising a young person who stutters and what the effects of that are on the young person, on the family. So really, really building a network of people and just seeing so many people make so much progress and grow so much in such a short time, while also having a lot of fun.
So it's at the Halloran Center there from March 18th and 19th. Tell us, is this a classroom setting? You know, we've seen some of the B-roll. It looks like some of the video there. It looks like they're doing all kinds of things, moving around. Take us through a day in the life of this camp.
Sure. Well, our camp is 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, and breakfast and lunch are provided. And I share that only because we sort of ease the campers in, right? You have the beauty of having the camp have been here for so long is that now we have a lot of returning campers that come back year after year, session after session, that know exactly what to expect. And so they come in ready to go. But we also have a lot of new people coming into this space. And like I said, maybe they're a little bit nervous, a little bit timid. So we like to ease in with the meal, just kind of get everybody settled in the space. And then essentially we spend a lot of time getting to know one another, and also really living into the premise, the value that everyone gets as much time as they need to speak, whether that is 2 seconds, 2 minutes, or 2 hours. We are going to hold space for you. This is an environment that is completely free of any kind of ridicule or bullying. It's all positive, uplifting, affirming time and space. And so we really just spend a lot of time getting to know one another so that the young people can learn about other people who stutter, and also just helping them to feel comfortable speaking with their stutter. We play a lot of fun games, which is always a really great time. We have amazing food at lunch, and then we spend the afternoons primarily creating things. And we believe that the young people should get to create whatever they want. So they're writing poems, they're creating dances, some of them write songs, they do animation and drawing, they're creating skits and scenes, you name it, creative writing, drawing, you name it. They are developing creative means to express their thoughts and ideas. Then on the second day, we do a little bit more team building, a little bit more games and fun, and of course those delicious meals. And then we invite anyone who wishes to share some of the creative things that they've made for their friends and family. So any parents, caregivers, etc., that want to come and observe. Nobody is forced to share anything because, of course, we know that's a pretty big ask, right, to get up on stage and share something that you've created. But I'm also really proud to say that almost every single time we've got almost every young person up there sharing a little bit about what they made and letting their voice be heard. And that's exactly what we're trying to do, is make space for that.
So, and it's important to mention that this is a free camp for anyone. And I'm curious, do people come back every year? Do you see some of the same people? And how many people do we see? And what are the ages that we typically see at this camp?
Absolutely. So Camp Say serves young people who stutter ages 8 to 18. It is completely free. One of the things that we've been doing at the Orpheum for a long time now is really working to create more access to our quality programs. And so we don't want cost to be a barrier. If you are a young person who stutters and you want to participate in this camp, we want to make sure that it is accessible to you. So we're really proud of that and really thrilled to be able to offer it free to the families that need it. And in terms of people coming back, yes, we have young people that have been coming since the very first year. It's amazing to watch them grow, both physically from small people to now most of them are taller than me, to also just the way they grow in their journey of expressing themselves, of developing friendships. And I think, many of these young people, like I said, where they are going to school, and we have students coming from all over the tri-state area. We even have students coming from as far as Florida and St. Louis, because they really need this resource and this program. And so a lot of the kids that are returning get so excited to come to camp and see their friends and reconnect with their community, because maybe where they go to school, maybe they're the only person who stutters, or maybe their teacher is not giving them the time they need, right? Because the only difference between a person who stutters and anybody else is that it just takes them a little bit more time to say what they want to say. And so I think for returners coming back, you just see them walk in the door and go, oh, this is a moment where I can take my time and I can express myself and I can be seen. So yes, we absolutely have returners that have been coming since the beginning, which is always fun. And then of course we love meeting new people. So if you've never been before, but you stutter, we definitely want you to come and join us. You'll make so many friends, and I promise you it's a good time.
Okay, so let's talk about how people can sign up, what they need to do, and how many people do you typically have every year?
Sure. It ranges from year to year. I would say we're usually in the range of 20 to 30 young people per session. We do try to find that balance of making sure that anybody that wants to be a part of the program can be a part of it, but also making sure that there's a high camper to staff ratio, right? So that everyone can get the attention that they need and deserve while they're at camp, and really connect with other young people. So we're usually in the 20 to 30 people range, again, ages 8 to 18. And to register, registration is open now. So you can go online to the Orpheum website. That's orpheum-memphis.com. And you can click on the Learn and Engage tab, and it'll direct you right there to Camp Say across the USA Memphis. There's a register button. You just have to answer a couple of questions, fill out some information. And then, of course, someone from our team will follow up with you with all of the details. Registration, like I said, is open now and closes on March 10th, so that we have time to turn around and prepare for the camp, which is actually the following weekend. So if you or a young person we also reach out a lot to teachers, educators, speech language pathologists, right? If you know someone who stutters that can benefit from this program, please send them our way. We'd really love to have them at Camp Say.
All right, Jennifer McGrath, the Vice President of Education Community Engagement for the Orpheum Theater Group. Appreciate all that you guys do, certainly, and this camp sounds absolutely fantastic, and appreciate you letting us know about it and getting the word out there for everybody. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Hugh Jackman, Kourtney Kardashian, Jennifer Aniston, J-Lo, Elon Musk, just a few of the people that swear by intermittent fasting. Is it really safe? How do you actually know you're doing intermittent fasting? What will it do for you? Would it help you reach your health goals in 2023? Let's bring in Dr. Amy Duffy here. She is the international best-selling author of Normal Doesn't Have Side Effects, and she has been a part of the Action News 5 digital desk in the past. We appreciate you coming on once again, Amy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm so excited to be here and share this information. It's super fun.
Yeah, I am a person that loves to intermittent fast myself. I do it at work, and I have kind of like a, 10 to 12 hour window. First, explain what it is for our audience out there, and some of the different ways, because there's all kinds of different ways, I guess, to define intermittent fasting, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of ways. I kind of narrow it down to two different ways when I'm talking to my patients. I have the calendar way and I have the clock way. So the calendar way, this makes it a little bit more easy to process. Pick 2 days of the week, make sure they're not 2 days in a row. And on the 2 days that you X out here, you're going to fast those 2 days. On the other days, you can eat like normal. You can also adjust this different weeks throughout the month. So let's say you got a hot date one night, you want to adjust your time or something going on at work. So this way, it's super easy. A little bit more difficult to fast for a whole day. A lot of people start with something more like the clock way. So you're going to pick a time frame, a window, just like you described, where you're eating, and then a window where you're fasting or not eating. So let's imagine that you're going to start eating at noon and you're going to stop eating at 6 p.m. and then you don't resume eating until noon the next day. This makes it super easy because you're focused more on when you're eating and not just what you're eating. So you don't have to count carbs. You don't have to count calories. You want to have a glass of wine? Let's have a glass of wine. How about a beer? Sure, have a beer. Or you can even eat your favorite chocolate. Now, you're going to get better results for weight loss and overall health, cardiovascular, reducing the risk of diabetes, et cetera, if you're going to choose healthier foods, right? So eat your apple, have a salad for that meal. But it really is super simple and easy to follow. I get a lot of questions, Dr. Duffy, is this safe for us to do? And intermittent fasting can be really safe. In fact, we're seeing a lot of data. That's why doctors are loving it, that it really works, not just for weight loss, for actually reducing our risk of disease. So it's very safe, and we're really recommending it to a lot of people. The few people who need to pay attention, if you're diabetic and you're monitoring your blood sugar with either a blood sugar monitor, like when you're checking your blood on your finger, or you have one of those continuous glucose monitors, you want to make sure you talk to your doctor about that. This may be something you need to adjust. Or perhaps you're on medication and that medication needs to be taken with food, then you need to pay attention to the timing there or chat with your doctor about that. Outside of that, intermittent fasting, super safe, really easy to follow, and it works. That's why it's the #1 fad diet in America.
Is it really #1? Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. #1 fad diet in America. Gotcha. Let's get into specifics about the best candidates for intermittent fasting. Is there a certain body type? What about age groups?
Kids are growing, so we certainly don't want to restrict them. Usually kids are eating more for natural hunger, as opposed to sometimes we just want to eat because we're feeling munchy or something like that. So probably you want to wait until they're older teenagers or adults before they start fasting. But kids will actually naturally fast. They just don't eat when they're not hungry, right? So that's okay, age-wise. As we get older, really, there's no age limit where you would not want to intermittent fast. So that's pretty easy to do. Really, every body type is great. And one of the best things about intermittent fasting, it's not like the keto diet. Keto is okay, and you're going to get results from that, but it's really short-lived. It's hard to live in the keto world for a really long time. But once you start to get used to intermittent fasting, this can be something that you can do for life. So it's really a great thing for anybody who's trying to either maintain their weight or really try to lose weight. If you're going to lose weight, you may want to avoid some of those fun foods that we were talking about, at least in the beginning, until you get to your maintenance weight. But really, that's what's so great about intermittent fasting, is it really can be for anyone.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that I've enjoyed. I do it usually at work, and I don't generally do it on the weekends. But questions around intermittent fasting, because then some people ask, well, what about someone who doesn't eat all day or goes several days and all they have is, water or coffee or something like that? Is that safe? I always hear that when you do intermittent fasting, or when you fast for, let's say, a day or so, it really helps your cells. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there's actually studies that show really the magic happens when you're looking at reducing inflammation or regeneration of damaged cells, happens when you get into the 18 to 21 hour fast window and beyond that. So, for weight loss purposes, it's really great to start and simple to start with something like an 8-16 or a 16-8 fast. But when you're really trying to correct some dysfunction there or reduce inflammation, you want to get into those longer fasts. And there are some studies where doing a longer, 24-hour, 36-hour fast can really be beneficial, especially like for cancer. We're kind of starving the cancer, if you want to think about it that way. So there's some studies that really look around that. Of course, you want to make sure that you're hydrated. And again, if you're struggling with low blood sugar, things like that, then you just want to pay attention to that. Sometimes there are some foods that are allowed in the fasting. So some of those fasting days, there's some articles that talk about you can eat up to 500 calories and that still would be considered a fast. There are other people who do what they call one meal a day. And basically they're fasting throughout the day and they just have one meal. So it's not even a window of, time 6 hours. It's just one meal a day. Again, the term intermittent fasting is important. So if you go to one meal a day, that's okay, but you may want to adjust that throughout your week in terms of what time that meal is, because if you do that every day for the rest of your life, your body's going to adapt to that. And then it's not really intermittent anymore. So, once you get into it, you may want to start adjusting that time frame a little bit.
What does it do for your metabolism? Does it speed it up? Does it slow it down? Do we know?
There's kind of this idea that people who are gaining weight or can't lose weight have a slow metabolism. And then people who can, it seems like they just have an unlimited amount of food that they can eat, but they're still skinny, have a fast metabolism. I don't know that that's really real. I mean, there's so many different variables that go into that. So intermittent fasting, I would say probably, whether you want to call it metabolism, but when you're fasting, it actually speeds up your body's ability to get stored fat. So you're not starving yourself. If you go into starvation mode over a long period of time, your body starts looking for energy in the form of your muscle. So it's going to use up muscle, where the ability with intermittent fasting is actually gathering your fat cells. So your metabolism improves in the fact that it's helping you to burn fat instead of burn calories from muscle or your food, basically. So it's really going to help you lose more fat.
All right, so if our viewers are interested, we've been talking about this for a few minutes, they're interested, they're like, okay, let me try this out. What would be your recommendation if someone wanted to try out intermittent fasting, Amy?
Yeah, that clock way is the easiest way, is just pick a window, between 6 and 8 hours that you're going to eat, and then the window between 16 to 18 hours that you're fasting. The easiest way, just like I described, is to start at noon, end at 6 or 7 p.m. That way you're sleeping through a good, if we're getting the 8 hours of sleep we're supposed to, you're sleeping during most of your fasting. A lot of people aren't starving first thing in the morning. You can have tea, you can have black coffee. You just don't want to consume a lot of calories. Make sure, you're still well hydrated. And then you just start eating again at lunchtime the next day. That is the easiest way to get started.
Awesome. Amy Duffy, we really appreciate your analysis, your insight on this. And thanks so very much. Happy New Year to you. Much success in 2023.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Good morning. Sunshine as we're starting our day. We'll keep it that way all day today. Beautiful afternoon if you want to get outside. We'll end up in the upper 70s once again. 71 degrees at noon, 77 at 3 o'clock, lower 70s at 5, and then right around 66 degrees at 7. So we'll end up 77 for the high today, as I mentioned, which is about 15 degrees above our 59-degree average. A little bit of a south wind, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to the Grizzlies game tonight, it'll be a great evening for that too. Overnight tonight, we drop down to around 57 degrees. It'll be a little breezy with those winds sitting around 15 miles per hour, but also about 15 degrees above normal tonight as well. So no rain in the forecast today. Wednesday morning, afternoon, mostly dry, but Wednesday night, you get some really heavy rain moves in. Rounds of rain all day Thursday with an 80% chance of rain, and still a few showers through early Friday morning. And then finally, we'll kick all of that out of here. Your chance for thunderstorms tomorrow is at about a 2 out of 5 for severe weather on the lower end, mostly for North Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. Damaging winds and hail would be the main concern with this on Wednesday night. Let's talk timing. So again, Wednesday morning, afternoon, you may see a stray shower. Notice a few little specks of green. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday as we go through time. But that line of rain doesn't really start to move in. The line with the heaviest stuff around 7 o'clock in Harrisburg, Blytheville, into Tipton, Lauderdale County, into Dyersburg, Memphis, seeing a few showers. North Mississippi, that spot that I told you has the greatest chance for something severe. Between 9 and 10 o'clock is when this moves in. So here's 10 look at those dark reds. That's showing us some heavy rain. It'll be pouring in those spots. And again, you'll have some strong winds, maybe some large hail in spots like Clarksdale and Oxford and Corinth, also in Olive Branch and going into Shelby County and Collierville and Memphis, seeing some of those thunderstorms. You may see something severe in North Mississippi through midnight. And then after that, I no longer think we'll have any severe weather, but you will still have some rain lingering. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that heavy rain from Shelby County into Fayette County into Northeast Mississippi. And again, you'll have rounds of rain all day. So morning rain, dry out for a little bit, and then more in the afternoon and evening. Thursday night, once again, the same spot where I showed you that severe weather risk on Wednesday, you'll have that same chance for severe weather in eastern Arkansas and North Mississippi, but a 3 out of 5. And that's because not only do you have that hail and wind threat, but also a threat for tornadoes. So you get more of those ingredients coming together for severe weather potential. Right now, timing for that looks like maybe starting after 6 o'clock at night Thursday, and we could see some of those storms overnight Thursday as well. So something that we'll be monitoring for you. I don't really have much to show you in the way of timing right now, just because it looks like it would be isolated severe weather. We are going to see quite a bit of rain with this as well, about 1 inch to 3 inches of rain expected through Friday morning for most of the area. And in some spots, if you get some downpours that set up over the same area for a long amount of time, you could see those totals go over 3 inches of rain. So flash flooding will be a possibility. Now, if any watches or warnings get issued, best place to go for that info is on our First Alert weather app. You can download that for free. But like I said, today's beautiful. If you have lunch plans today, hopefully it's somewhere with a patio. 72 degrees at noon, 74 at 1 o'clock. Upper 70s today, 74 tomorrow. We're still warm actually on Thursday too, upper 60s. And then Friday afternoon, your high is 56. So temperatures drop down quite a bit behind that cold front, bringing that rain Thursday into Friday. And we're still in the upper 50s on Saturday, high of 61 on Sunday, and it's sunny and dry all weekend.
Okay, coronary bypass surgery. It's the most common heart surgery in the U.S. More than 200,000 procedures done each and every year. The surgery improves blood flow to the heart by bypassing arteries clogged with plaque. And now surgeons are performing this procedure in a very specialized way. I want to show you now many patients. It means the heart keeps beating during the entire procedure. Check this out. For New York artist Evelise Boucher, putting brush to paper last year was cathartic and very personal.
This is Santiago the Sloth.
Boucher began painting safari-themed pictures after hearing wonderful news from her son and his fiancée.
They were expecting a baby.
It also compelled the 61-year-old to make a life-altering decision.
I have some work to do. I gotta be able to run around and chase this little guy.
Boucher was facing some serious health issues. She had type 2 diabetes, a previously undetected stroke left her weak on one side, and she had heart disease and learned she needed a triple bypass.
And I was terrified. I was truly, truly terrified.
Cardiac expert Dr. John Puskas recommended a highly specialized surgery using arteries instead of veins, and unlike other bypass procedures, surgeons didn't stop the heart.
So the no aortic touch, all arterial bypass operation does not use the heart-lung machine at all. Instead of attaching arteries or veins to the aorta, we actually leave them with their own normal inflow.
Dr. Puskas removed an artery from Boucher's wrist to perform the bypass. Surgeons also surgically repositioned 2 internal arteries to improve blood flow. Dr. Puskas says the arterial graft and off-pump surgery leads to shorter recovery and better outcomes. Boucher says she kept thinking about meeting her grandson, and that kept her going during recovery. Finally, the moment Boucher had been waiting for.
I did a little peekaboo thing with him, and he gave me my first smile. And my heart just burst.
Just a figure of speech. Boucher is recovering, spending time with her little Ezra, and feeling better than ever. Doctors say the arterial graft no-touch heart bypass is now the preferred way some doctors want to perform a coronary bypass. Studies show there is a 2% stroke risk during the traditional coronal bypass surgery, but with this new technique, surgeons reduce that risk to just 0.25%. With ways to live your best life, I'm Andrew Douglas, Action News 5. The president's extension on student loan forgiveness now the subject of a major case that will go before the U.S. Supreme Court. Action News 5's Washington Bureau, Jamie Bittner reports.
For millions of borrowers, the Supreme Court's decision will determine if they can save thousands of dollars on student loans or if they'll have to pay that money back. Student loan advocate Melissa Brine is one of the dozens of borrowers who are sleeping outside the Supreme Court Monday night. They're demonstrating in support of the president's student loan forgiveness.
For a lot of people, it means the ability to, maybe not work two jobs.
The question before the Supreme Court, does the Biden administration have the authority to forgive student loans? Two separate lawsuits argue that it doesn't.
This is a monumental case.
One of the two lawsuits, Biden versus Nebraska, was filed by the attorneys general of 6 Republican states. The second, Department of Education versus Brown, was filed by 2 student loan borrowers from Texas. Both challenges seek to block the student loan forgiveness program from going into effect.
There are arguments both ways on this.
Frederick Lawrence is with the Georgetown University Law Center. He tells me the Biden administration will argue they're on solid legal ground because of the 2003 HEROES Act. He says it gives the president broad authority to forgive student loans in national emergencies like the COVID-19 pandemic.
There's nothing oblique here. This is clear language in a statute that says you can cancel debt, you can give debt relief in connection with a national emergency. I think the administration is going to argue that's precisely what they're doing.
But the court challenges argue that the extension is unfair and financially harmful to states and organizations that service student loans. Now, Lieutenant Governor of Arkansas, Leslie Rutledge, was one of the 6 attorney generals who joined the original suit, arguing the pandemic is over.
President Biden's action canceling student loan debt is not only patently unfair, but it's against the law. Perhaps President Biden forgot that he stated the pandemic was over when he used the HEROES Act.
If the Supreme Court would rule in favor of the Biden administration, the U.S. Department of Education tells me they're ready to send out that relief. They've processed 16 million of the 26 million applications they've received so far. In Washington, I'm Jamie Bittner.
Whether it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we are always focused on the weekend. We're focused on the weekend. We're focused on date night. We're focused on what we're going to do, who we're going to see, where we're going to eat. And that's why it's so important to talk to Jennifer Chandler, the food reporter at the Commercial Appeal. And Jennifer, I guess we're talking about date night, right?
Yes, we're definitely talking about date night places if you really wanted to impress that special someone in your life. These are the restaurants in Memphis where I would make a reservation to go. They most of them are a little bit of a splurge, but they are serve great food, great service. They're some of Memphis's top restaurants. And not only am I going to share what I think are the 10 most romantic restaurants in town, I'm going to share what my favorite table for 2 at each one of these restaurants is.
I love it. I love it. And I love this list. Let's hit it.
Okay, well, we're going to start with A. It's kind of an alphabetical order a little bit here. So Acre is one, and this is this restaurant in East Memphis. And I think a lot of people don't realize it's there because it's kind of tucked away off of South Perkins, kind of right where the road bends there. But look at this table. They have this table for 2 this was in a former home. So in the front dining room, which is the smaller dining room, there is this great fireplace, and there is this table for 2 in front of the fireplace, and you just feel like you're, someplace, especially in the winter, someplace very romantic. And it is my favorite spot in the restaurant Acre. The restaurant is by Wally Joe and Andrew Adams. 2 fabulous restaurateur chefs, and they do great food. And if you haven't been there, you need to check out Acre. And if you're going for a date night, ask for that table. But you can't go wrong with any table there. Next on my list is Andrew Michael Italian Kitchen. And Andrew Michael, again, I love these places that are in homes because I think they would create this kind of like intimate dining experience that you don't that you feel like you're kind of like this special person in someone's home. So they have these lovely dining rooms, but my favorite place is in the bar. And they have these banquettes that they created, and you can't really quite tell from this picture, but the banquettes, the sides are really, really tall. So when you sit in those banquettes, you feel like you're the only person in the restaurant. And I love that kind of nice, cozy feeling. Any seat in this restaurant is definitely romantic, and the food is great. And one of the things that I always do when we go there is I love their pastas, and I could never pick one. So we always share. So I think that a lot of the things on their menu are great for kind of like sharing for two. So definitely Andrew Michael Italian Kitchen, and ask for one of those booths in the bar. So moving on, Chez Philippe. So Chez Philippe has been, the quintessential fine dining restaurant in Memphis for decades. And they closed during COVID back in March, and they didn't reopen until this past fall. And so whereas the dining room is still that elegant, room that they have all the, you can see all of like the faux marble and all of there's no place like it anywhere else, but they're doing these tasting course menus there now, and they're really over the top. Excellent wine service. I went in December and enjoyed my meal and my experience there. I will say, if you're going to Chez Philippe, just plan on, it's a 2 to 3 hour meal. It is it's a production, but it is very romantic. And especially if you really want to splurge, I'd say get a room at the hotel afterwards. So that way you don't have to go home after enjoying your multi-course meal. And I forget how exact number it is. It may be 8 courses. It's a lot, but it's pretty fancy.
Yeah, I love Erling Jensen's. I was fortunate enough to be there last month, and it was a 7-course with wine pairings on each course. Unbelievable, modern French. You can't beat it.
Yeah, well, we'll mention Erling's now. That's on my list too. And, but you don't have to, you can go for a special event where you have a tasting menu like that, but Erling's does do also a la carte. And, they have my favorite table in Erling's. Is kind of, if you look in the dining room, that it is kind of, there's a tabletop table that is in front of the front windows. You can see it in this picture. You can see those windows right there. There's a 2-top right there, and you just kind of feel like you're a little bit away from the fray of everything going on in the restaurant. And yeah, there's a reason Erling Jensen has been, the top chef in Memphis for, I would say he's probably going on 30 years, because I had a date night with my husband at La Tourelle when he ran La Tourelle, and we've been married 25 years. And that was before we got married. So, but Erling Jensen, that's in East Memphis. It's off of Yates. Again, it's in a former home, tucked away. It's just very, very, very charming. Going back to kind of my alphabetical order, if I can keep in it, is Coastal Fish Company. Now, this is not in a home. It is not intimate at all as far as like the site, but it has the best view, in my opinion, of any restaurant in the city of Memphis. It's sitting on the banks of Hyde Lake and Shelby Farms Park. And and if you go at sunset, look how stunning that is. Just absolutely beautiful. And one of the things that's great about this restaurant, I love any scene in this restaurant, but there's this fabulous, huge patio, and in the summertime, they have fans going. So after sunset, it really kind of cools down. But in the winter, what they do is they have put up sides that run across the front that are glass sides. It's a partition. It doesn't go all the way up, but they have heaters. So, if it gets down to 20 degrees, it's not going to be comfortable there. But if it is 50 degrees, 60 degrees in Memphis, do not hesitate to sit outside and ask for one of the tables that is on the edge of the patio that directly over, you have the front row seat to that amazing view of a sunset. And don't be afraid to go to dinner early. I know early bird special, it's really not a special, but as far as, a 5:30 or 6, just time your reservation around sunset, and it's worth going to dinner early just because it's so breathtaking. Next on my list is Dory. And Dory is back on Brookhaven Circle. It's actually right next to Andrew Michael. And Dory is a lovely restaurant by David and Amanda Krog. And it is a tasting menu, kind of like we were talking about Chez Philippe. And my favorite table in this restaurant is, you can see right here, it is in the front corner, right across the street from right across from the kitchen. So they have an open kitchen, so you can watch the chefs in action, and it is just really kind of fun. And since it's right there in the corner and has that partition, again, you feel like you're kind of intimate, and you feel you're kind of in your own little private dining area. And those chefs are at this restaurant are so talented and so into what they do. It is so fun to watch them preparing your meal. So Dory is on my list, and I forget the exact night, but I should have written this down, but I believe it's on Wednesday nights. They do a little bit shorter. It's either Tuesday or Wednesday nights. You need to double check online, but they don't do their full course 6-course tasting meal. They do a smaller one that's 4 courses, so that you don't have to make as big a time commitment when you're eating at Dory. But it's such a fabulous dining experience. I just love it. Okay, next on my list is a Memphis classic that's been around forever, Folks Folly. It's Memphis's original prime steakhouse. I mean, it's been around since the 70s, and there's nothing like those steaks that come to your table sizzling in butter. I mean, I've never had that anywhere else. But again, this is like all these other restaurants I keep saying that are like in those old original homes, but they have these private dining rooms that can seat 2 to 4. Sometimes they can seat 6, but they're kind of, they have these curtains, and they're kind of partitioned off. And it's just a really charming way to have a really intimate, romantic dinner, especially if your special someone loves steak. Folks Folly Prime Steakhouse is where I would go for that experience. Napa Cafe is right around the corner from Folks Folly. This is again in East Memphis. It's in the Sanderland Center. And owner Glenda Hastings has just created this just really welcoming, well done restaurant. It's got a nice wine list. It's got a really good wine focus. And there are several places in this restaurant. I had a hard time choosing which I was going to choose my favorite romantic table, but I decided to do this one, which is called, it's in Jan's Room. It's this little nook that is off the side dining room, and it has kind of this glass sliding door, so it kind of looks into the main dining room, but it has a banquette in the corner. And it has some of her favorite cookbooks and some memorabilia on the walls behind you. And you can snuggle in that little corner and just be a little away from everything, but still have a view of the restaurant and everything going on in there. If that table is not available, there's also a private dining room in the wine cellar as well. So, which is another cool experience. But again, every place of these restaurants that I'm mentioning, I'm telling what my favorite romantic table is, but there's really not a bad seat in the house. Then Supper Club on 2nd. So this is a really kind of cool, different dining experience. This is kind of right across the street from the Peabody. And this table right here, you can see is in the front window. There's one that's right in the front table, and there are like 2 or 3 right there in this kind of like nook there. And there are 2 tops. And that is where I like to sit, because one, you can kind of look out on the street, but you can also look back and see the scene going on in this restaurant. So the food is excellent. I went recently and I had their version of a lobster pronto pup. I think they're called lobster dogs, and they were really good. And these short ribs that were just over the top. But I will say this one is kind of a scene a little bit, because it has a club-like, it's a restaurant, it's a fine dining restaurant, but there is a club-like atmosphere a little bit, like there's loud music playing, kind of like this kind of cool soul R&B, and it's, the lights are dim, and it's a fun, different dining experience. And as I said, I love to sit in one of those front 2 high top tables and kind of watch everything that's going on in the restaurant. It was funny when they were opening it, they told me that a supper club, originally back in the 50s was, you would go to dinner and you would watch a show. And they said that they were hoping to create a restaurant where there wasn't a show per se, but dining there was the experience, was part of the show. And it definitely is kind of a fun and different kind of cool vibe to go to. And then, one more on my list, and it is a very new restaurant, The Lobbyist. So The Lobbyist at Chisca is in the historic Chisca building that is on South Main, kind of a block or so away from the Orpheum. And this is a restaurant by Chef Jimmy Gentry, and it opened in January. And it is really cool if you, especially, this is one that, a lot of times if you have people that are vegetarian, you can't take them places to eat. If your Valentine or your special someone is a vegetarian, you can take them there and they will have a fabulous meal, because he has a whole big section called produce section, and I swear you will not miss the meat at all. But he does have great meat. I mean, he has great steaks and he has fish dishes and sweetbreads and all other things. But he does vegetables really, really, really well. And so the table that I love there is that one that's under that great piece of artwork. It's in they call their PDR, their private dining room. And you just kind of feel like you're off in the corner. It's a really nice little place, because especially under that chandelier, you can see it's breathtaking. But again, not a bad seat in this restaurant as well. I think I did all 10. I hope I did all 10. But all of these places are just really true Memphis originals. They're all owned by Memphians. They're all, Memphis originals, serving great food. They have good service. They're worth the splurge, as I said. Whereas I picked my favorite tables, and you can go to commercialappeal.com/food and see this list, and it does talk about each one of these tables, and each one. Any seat in these houses, any seat in these restaurants is absolutely perfect.
I love that list. It is a great list. There's only 2 places I haven't been, and I got to check them out. But that list is fantastic, Jennifer. And my apologies when I interrupted you before. I said Erling Jensen. I meant to say Chez Philippe. I was at Chez Philippe last month, and it was 7 courses and wine pairings at each course. So it was. It's just such an amazing dining experience. You can't go wrong. But you can't go wrong, as you mentioned, with any of those restaurants. They're just so good. I love it.
Memphis is so lucky to have so many great places here. It's really amazing. And I have to admit, when I make these lists and I have to narrow them down, it's, first I was going to do my top 5, and I was like, I can't narrow it down to 5. I've got to do 10. And I probably could have mentioned a few more. There's so many great places here in Memphis. And I just, I always encourage people is just look and see. We've got so much cool stuff. We have a really great restaurant scene, and it just, I shouldn't probably say this, but my daughter lives in Nashville, and I've been going there a lot this year, and I go to all these places that supposedly are the best restaurants in Nashville, and we sit there and we're like, this is not as good as what we get in Memphis. So
you know what? You're not the first person that has told me that. They've said the exact same thing. We went to this place in Nashville, so we got plenty of those and better ones in Memphis. So yes. You're absolutely right, 100%. And take Jennifer's recommendations on these restaurants. They're so good. Commercialappeal.com/food. Jennifer Chandler, as always, thanks very much.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Good morning. Sunshine as we're starting our day. We'll keep it that way all day today. Beautiful afternoon if you want to get outside. We'll end up in the upper 70s once again. 71 degrees at noon, 77 at 3 o'clock, lower 70s at 5, and then right around 66 degrees at 7. So we'll end up 77 for the high today, as I mentioned, which is about 15 degrees above our 59-degree average. A little bit of a south wind, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to the Grizzlies game tonight, it'll be a great evening for that too. Overnight tonight, we drop down to around 57 degrees. It'll be a little breezy with those winds sitting around 15 miles per hour, but also about 15 degrees above normal tonight as well. So no rain in the forecast today. Wednesday morning, afternoon, mostly dry, but Wednesday night, you get some really heavy rain moves in. Rounds of rain all day Thursday with an 80% chance of rain, and still a few showers through early Friday morning. And then finally, we'll kick all of that out of here. Your chance for thunderstorms tomorrow is at about a 2 out of 5 for severe weather on the lower end, mostly for North Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. Damaging winds and hail would be the main concern with this on Wednesday night. Let's talk timing. So again, Wednesday morning, afternoon, you may see a stray shower. Notice a few little specks of green. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday as we go through time. But that line of rain doesn't really start to move in. The line with the heaviest stuff around 7 o'clock in Harrisburg, Blytheville, into Tipton, Lauderdale County, into Dyersburg, Memphis, seeing a few showers. North Mississippi, that spot that I told you has the greatest chance for something severe. Between 9 and 10 o'clock is when this moves in. So here's 10. Look at those dark reds. That's showing us some heavy rain. It'll be pouring in those spots. And again, you'll have some strong winds, maybe some large hail in spots like Clarksdale and Oxford and Corinth, also in Olive Branch and going into Shelby County and Collierville and Memphis, seeing some of those thunderstorms. You may see something severe in North Mississippi through midnight. And then after that, I no longer think we'll have any severe weather, but you will still have some rain lingering. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that heavy rain from Shelby County into Fayette County into Northeast Mississippi. And again, you'll have rounds of rain all day. So morning rain, dry out for a little bit, and then more in the afternoon and evening. Thursday night, once again, the same spot where I showed you that severe weather risk on Wednesday, you'll have that same chance for severe weather in eastern Arkansas and North Mississippi, but a 3 out of 5. And that's because not only do you have that hail and wind threat, but also a threat for tornadoes. So you get more of those ingredients coming together for severe weather potential. Right now, timing for that looks like maybe starting after 6 o'clock at night Thursday, and we could see some of those storms overnight Thursday as well. So something that we'll be monitoring for you. I don't really have much to show you in the way of timing right now, just because it looks like it would be isolated severe weather. We are going to see quite a bit of rain with this as well, about 1 inch to 3 inches of rain expected through Friday morning for most of the area. And in some spots, if you get some downpours that set up over the same area for a long amount of time, you could see those totals go over 3 inches of rain. So flash flooding will be a possibility. Now, if any watches or warnings get issued, best place to go for that info is on our First Alert weather app. You can download that for free. But like I said, today's beautiful. If you have lunch plans today, hopefully it's somewhere with a patio. 72 degrees at noon, 74 at 1 o'clock. Upper 70s today, 74 tomorrow. We're still warm actually on Thursday too, upper 60s. And then Friday afternoon, your high is 56. So temperatures drop down quite a bit behind that cold front, bringing that rain Thursday into Friday. And we're still in the upper 50s on Saturday, high of 61 on Sunday, and it's sunny and dry all weekend.
There is a new revolutionary cancer treatment we want to tell you about, and it is something that's certainly raising a few eyebrows this morning. It's available at Methodist Cancer Institute, and I want to bring in right now to the Action News 5 digital desk Dr. Lillian Rinker. She's medical director of radiation oncology for the Methodist Cancer Institute. Let's go ahead and talk about this revolutionary breakthrough here.
Well, thanks so much for having me today. We are so excited about this new technology. It's called the Elekta Unity. It's a combination of a magnetic resonance imaging scanner and a linear accelerator. An MRI scanner is a type of imaging that gives beautiful pictures of internal anatomy, and is especially helpful for giving radiation to cancer patients. That combined with a linear accelerator, which is the machine that typically is used to give radiation treatment, it gives us this revolutionary new technology. For instance, it is only one of 10 such treatment machines in the entire country. It's the only such machine in the Mid-South. For instance, you would need to go to Florida or Texas or Wisconsin to be able to access this type of treatment, and we just couldn't be more excited to have it. One of the most exciting things is that it gives us the ability really to see cancers in a way that we've never been able to see before in terms of radiation treatment. So for instance, organs like the liver and the brain that we just don't see too well with CT, MRI changes everything. We can so much better see the tumor, target it, and also see healthy surrounding tissues and stay off them. So we really have the ability to limit the dose to the healthy structures nicely. For instance, some of the areas that we excel in are in the abdomen and the pelvis. Think, for instance, of the pancreas, surrounded by stomach, small bowel, organs that move minute by minute, and the ability to stay off those organs and to actually focus in on our tumor. If our tumor shrinks, then, day by day, minute by minute even, we are able to refocus on that tumor and off of healthy, normal tissues. Another instance is in the pelvis, the prostate, for instance, or GYN malignancies. We're especially focused on GI and GU malignancies, or gastrointestinal and genitourinary malignancies, again, because of nearby small bowel, bladder, and rectum, which are much easier to see on this machine and avoid. Am I answering your questions?
So let me jump in a little bit, Doctor. Okay. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad that you're with us, and this revolutionary breakthrough is always great, especially when it comes to cancer treatment. Can you explain in layman's terms what patients went through before and how different it is going to be now in the most layman terms possible?
Right. So radiation is typically planned on a CT scan, which is a single snapshot of the area of the body that we're interested in. So when you're doing your planning for the radiation treatment, it's based on an image where you're contouring your cancer. You're also contouring and showing the computer really where your target is and where your normal organs are that you want to reduce dose or limit dose to. The difference here is that the imaging is with MRI instead of CT. We still do an initial plan, much like typical radiation treatment. The difference is that when a patient comes for treatment, instead of using the plan from day one, and this plan never changes, as our tumor shrinks, say a head and neck malignancy where you're getting some shrinkage of that tumor every week or day to day, we actually replan on the fly so that we can change our treatment, adapt our treatment minute by minute, not only to the size and shape and position of the tumor, but also to avoid organs around the tumor that are constantly in motion. So the ability to readapt during each treatment every day is revolutionary. It also takes longer. So a regular radiation treatment might take 15 or 20 minutes. This treatment, you may be on the table up to an hour. So it's not the right treatment for everybody. If you have a pacemaker or severe claustrophobia, this could be a problem as well.
So how new is this kind of technology, and what cancers are primarily affected with this, and what have been the results of this new treatment? I mean, is it showing vastly greater results for patients? Explain.
So the technology is quite new. With cancer research, we typically need years to help prove in an academic manner that one treatment is better than another. So we're not quite there yet with MRI, but we do have early studies that are showing significantly lower doses to surrounding critical structures. And we believe that within the next few years, we'll have such data. So especially, I'll go back to pancreatic cancer. That's a cancer that's traditionally been very difficult to treat, in part because it's hard to see. It's also surrounded by very sensitive organs, the liver, the stomach, small bowel, that are always moving. Because of this, in the past, radiation oncologists have had a hard time escalating the dose to the cancer in a way that really allows them to do a good job with that cancer. And this is such a technology that can really change that. for the first time, we have the ability to take into account the position of normal tissues minute by minute and avoid those tissues. Additionally, for the liver and brain, these are areas that we've had to rely on diagnostic imaging. And you can't go get a diagnostic MRI every day and plan off of it every day. That's just not feasible. Whereas this machine basically allows that. For the first time, we have the ability to use an MRI for a brand new treatment plan every day, on the fly, if you will. And that's just never been possible before.
That's great news. So I know that Methodist is just one of a handful of hospitals across the country that have this technology. Tell me what employees and what's been some of the reaction. Have patients been a part of this already? I mean, give me some reaction to some folks that deal with you and in cancer treatment facilities.
Right. So in general, as you might guess, that's been a tremendous reaction. With the pandemic, we were a little slower getting the machine put in place and ready to go than we otherwise would have been. We've been up and running since the end of October. But it's been a slow open. For instance, the staff, the physicist, the dosimetrist, and therapist who are so instrumental in giving this treatment have had to train long hours. They've worked very hard to be up and running for this machine, and we have actually treated a few patients already. They've done well, and everybody's tolerated the treatment quite well. We are looking to be busier, and hence the push now to kind of let the community, the Mid-South, know that we're open and ready. We're just so excited to be part of the future. This really does put Memphis and the Mid-South on the map in terms of cancer treatment in a way that we've never been.
Dr. Rinker, we have thousands of people that watch us here on the Action News 5 digital desk each and every day. A final question. What does this mean for the Mid-South from your perspective, and what would you like Memphis and the Mid-South to know, other than the details you explained to us, just know about this revolutionary technology coming to Memphis?
Yeah, so it's a wonderful new technology. Anybody who thinks they, might want to know more, might be a candidate for treatment, give us a call. We're happy to talk with you. We would love to get the word out. We would love to have more providers and patients come meet with us, check us out. Let's see if this treatment might be right, for people, in Memphis first, but case in point, for even surrounding states, you'd have to go to Texas or Wisconsin or Florida to get this treatment. So for people who are closer to us than those places, they should consider consultations here. I think as we grow and the machine becomes more in use, we will find many more ways that it excels.
Okay, Dr. Lillian Rinker, Methodist Cancer Institute, talking about the revolutionary cancer treatment that is now here and available for patients in the Mid-South. We appreciate your time this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
I want to recap one of the top stories that we are following this morning. A house fire in Fraser has killed 4 people, including 2 children. This happened about 2 o'clock this morning here on Parr Avenue off of Thomas Street. Memphis Fire Department says an 8, 10, 33, and 62-year-old did not survive this. A space heater is the cause of the fire, according to police and firefighters who were there on the scene. It is something that is that Walter Murphy is covering for us today here at Action News 5. We do have the latest information on actionnews5.com. I have it pulled up here. One person was taken to the hospital in critical condition. So we have the 4 people who were killed in this house fire, and then 1 person in critical condition at Regional 1. I want to now play a quick soundbite from a firefighter there on the scene.
So around 2 a.m., Memphis Fire Department, we responded to a report of house fire, arrived on scene, heavy smoke and flames. We're also told that there were possibly parties trapped inside. Unfortunately, this morning I do have to report that we have 4 fatalities at this residence. We also had 1 transported in critical condition to Regional 1 burn. At this time, investigators have determined that the cause of the fire was accidental due to a space heater in the rear bedroom.
So 5 people total living in this home?
Yes.
A 5th person is in the hospital. What's their condition?
They were transported in critical condition.
Any update?
Not at this time.
A space heater, do we know, was it left on overnight or?
That's what we can assume right now. It's just early in that investigation process right now, but that's all we were able to release at this time.
And again, our Walter Murphy is covering this story for us here. He'll have a report later this afternoon on Action News 5 at 5 o'clock. To Hernando, Mississippi now, a recent acid spill, and so the city leaders in Hernando are assuring the public the water is safe to drink. So over the weekend, a large plastic container holding hydrofluoric acid melted during a fire. So that acid then soaked into the ground, affecting the pH levels of nearby waterways leading to the Mississippi River. Crews working with and alongside the Mississippi Department of Environment Quality went to work damming nearby creeks and using mitigation methods to balance out the water. In fact, Hernando Mayor Chip Johnson said that those dams have been removed and the water's pH is balancing out. Listen.
They've assured me that there's no danger to anyone.
That's great.
So that's what I was looking for. And I made another, like I said earlier, I called DEQ again this morning. I said, are we sure? And they said they're absolutely certain everything is going by the book and this is happening the way it's supposed to.
All right, so Mayor Johnson told us that he and crews are going to remain in Hernando, Mississippi this week and next week, performing soil, water, and air quality tests. In Arkansas now, a new bill looking to help those with dementia starting in January of next year. Arkansas law enforcement officers will be trained to treat individuals with Alzheimer's and other types of dementia. 2 of the 16 required hours of training would focus on how to identify these individuals and de-escalate any kind of crisis-like situation. One local lawmaker says this bill is needed.
Of course, will be taught by a mental health provider, and of course it'll be in conjunction with the LEDA and their instructors, and we're looking forward to getting this implemented.
I've got an agreement sitting in my office and just waiting for clarification from the city on one issue, but I have a signed contract from the MRPP president, so we're good to go.
Image in my mind Image, in my mind, represents something very positive, something that's needed for Memphis, something that has a healing quality, and then I hope it will be translated that way.
Ready to go.
Impact is monumental in a number of different ways. To be interesting to see next pass. What impact does
Calling for it against Hardaway Jr. 8 on the shot clock, faces up. Steps through, fires, man. The Lakers calls his own number. Missed the layup, tipped up. Davis with the rebound. Slams it home.
The kids are so excited. They didn't actually know that they would be on the court, so they're really enjoying it. It falls within our programming, which is to get them out of front of the TV and have them doing something and being active. And we're lucky enough to have their bigs to join us today and a few of our parents.
Well, we know that college is difficult and expensive for everyone. One school is working to create an alternative path for students to get the kind of jobs that college grads get. Sharon Epperson has more on that.
Ivana and Maya Betacharji Marcantonio found many of their successful high school students struggled in college.
What we learned was that college wasn't serving our students.
The two founded Brooklyn's Marcy Lab School to create an alternative path for low-income students of color. The program focuses on giving students the skills they need to do the jobs they want, even without a college degree. Their education includes classes, internships, and job opportunities, with support from JP Morgan Chase, Tiger Global, Microsoft, and other companies.
Spending years with our students has led them to see them as not only students who have a ton of potential, but can be true hiring pipelines for their organizations.
Devontae Duncan had trouble getting the classes he needed for his engineering degree at a public university and didn't want to take on more debt.
I started to realize that college wasn't going to be sustainable for me, and so I had to find an alternative option.
In 2019, he entered the first class of the Marcy Lab School. Here, students start their 8-hour day with meditation.
Mind wanders, just gently bring it back.
Journaling and setting goals.
What does success look like? What does it feel like for you?
Free for students, the program started with a class of 9, and now 67 are enrolled. They're learning engineering skills, coding, and networking.
There are a lot of laptops, a lot of monitors for coding and things to do, but it seems like there are also a lot of spaces to just get to know one another, just talk.
Oh, yes. Marcy's very big on community.
Anika Nanton is a current student and is finishing the program with a paid internship.
Now I'm actually working this, salary. I'm doing a career. I'm actually can grow in terms exponentially.
Now 24, Duncan is a software engineer at Squarespace, making $140,000 a year. He completed the Marcy program 2 years ago.
Not only were they teaching me how to code, they were teaching me how to survive in corporate America. And that's not something that you get at college.
Marcy grads earn an average salary of a little over $100,000, but say the community they've built is worth much more. For CNBC, I'm Sharon Epperson.
Some lawmakers are working to advance the Right to Work Act. It relates to a worker's right to deny union membership and opt out from union dues. Some lawmakers believe the right to work gives an individual protection from losing their job if they don't want to join a union.
Every American should have the power to decide whether or not to negotiate for themselves and their employer. And no American should be forced to pay union dues just to keep a job.
28 states, including Tennessee and Arkansas, are right-to-work states. And looking ahead, Memphis Light Gas and Water, in partnership with Southwest Tennessee Community College, hosting an open house to announce a new workforce initiative. The open house will take place tonight, 6 o'clock. It'll be at Southwest Macon Cove campus. Workforce Initiative offers specialized training in electronics, mechanics, computer sciences, and other fields. Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas in the Action News 5 digital desk. We often associate acne breakouts with our teen years, but for so many Americans out there, breakouts aren't just a distant memory. In fact, acne is the most prevalent skin disease right now, affecting up to 80% of people at some point during their lives. Let's talk about acne, some of the causes, and what we can do to help ourselves with the one and only Dr. Pimple Popper. Dr. Sandra Lee, dermatologist, is with us here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Dr. Lee, thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you guys?
We are doing well, thank you very much. So,
Good.
So tell us, what is the cause of acne primarily?
Well, acne is caused by oily skin or sebum that builds up in our pores, and sebum is really largely controlled by hormones. So really, that's really what causes everything. You know, hormones are also called androgens. These increase and decrease throughout our lifetime, so they fluctuate. And so when they are higher, like during teenage years, that's when you have more acne breakouts. And so actually, though, throughout your life, it can really fluctuate and go up and down, so that, you know, you can get them when you're 50. You can even get acne when you're in your 50s and your 60s. So it doesn't really matter your age or your gender. Hormones.
So tell me about the AHA Acne Hormones campaign that you are a part of. I guess it spotlights the role of hormones as the underlying cause of acne. Tell me more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important for people to understand why we get acne breakouts. And that's really a key to treating, because I think people feel really helpless when they have a breakout and they don't know how to treat it. And then you get some kind of, treatment regimen from your doctor and you're like, well, I don't even know what this does. I don't know, what it's doing. I don't know if it's going to work or not. But if people understand that it's caused by hormones specifically, and that a certain medication is going to specifically help to treat those or lower those hormones in your skin, then I think people are going to be more willing to use it, and they're going to actually also feel really like a part of the treatment, right? They're going to feel like they have control over their own skin.
Dr. Lee, you have this show on TLC, and it's a hit show. So many people watch it, but it's interesting. I know in our viewers, and you may find this yourself, that people are in either one of two camps. They either love the show or they can't stand it because they can't stand watching the video. Tell me about your success and what the show's like.
Well, I think it became successful because either people hate it or they love it, but either way, they're talking about it, right? So that's really what really drove the interest or, the popularity of the show. And I really think what's great about it is even if you have to look away at certain parts, there's such a wonderful story there. You really meet people that you kind of connect with because you see how we can change their lives in very positive ways. And so it's a really great feel-good story. It's just really kind of starts with something that's a little bit maybe a little uncomfortable to watch or uncomfortable to see. But that's what's really great about it. I feel so lucky to be a part of it.
So many people watching right now either have a family member or a friend that has been affected by serious acne throughout some point of their lives. Can you maybe talk about some myths and misconceptions about acne?
Sure. I mean, I think greasy food, right? I'm sure like a mom has told a son, like, you stop eating that pizza because that's really just going to make your acne worse. Well, pizza only causes acne if you rub it all over your face, because that's where you're getting oil on your skin. Eating pizza is not going to transfer to oil increasing in your skin. So that's one myth. Also, you need to wash your face more because your skin is just dirty and that's why you're getting acne. Well, actually, overwashing your face can make your acne much worse and make your skin really irritated and, even increase the risk for scarring and bleeding and things like that. So, I think what's really important is to get people understanding the root cause of acne, which is really due to our hormones. And in many ways, we can't really control that unless you really use some medications that are going to specifically help to lower those levels.
What about your gut? I hear a lot of doctors talk about your microbiome, your gut as maybe a source of some acne out there. Is that true?
I mean, I think that the microbiome and, people doing probiotics and prebiotics and postbiotics are all try to increase the health of our gut and also potentially increase the health of our skin in many ways. And, there's a lot of new things that we're learning in that sort of arena. But it's just part of the whole process. And I think in general, if we feel healthy, in general, our skin is going to look more healthy. We're going to feel good about ourselves.
If you had to maybe give 3 headlines of the best things for teenagers and adults to do in order to maintain a clean, healthy skin without acne, what would you tell them?
I would say make sure to address your skin if it is oily, because the oiliness is really what is a key promoter for acne. I would say for the health of your skin, make sure you wear sunscreen and protect it from sun damage or premature aging, skin cancer, that sort of thing. And the third is probably to smile and be happy, because happiness really, really makes us feel good and really makes your skin look better. And really, when you smile, you have fewer wrinkles too. So.
Quickly, where can people get more information from you with regards to the campaign that you're on and acne health overall?
Yes, there's a website, acnehormones.com.
Awesome. All right, Dr. Sandra Lee, Dr. Pimple Popper, thanks so much for joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We appreciate your info.
Thank you.
Good morning. Sunshine as we're starting our day. We'll keep it that way all day today. Beautiful afternoon if you want to get outside. We'll end up in the upper 70s once again. 71 degrees at noon, 77 at 3 o'clock, lower 70s at 5, and then right around 66 degrees at 7. So we'll end up 77 for the high today, as I mentioned, which is about 15 degrees above our 59-degree average. A little bit of a south wind, about 5 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to the Grizzlies game tonight, it'll be a great evening for that too. Overnight tonight, we drop down to around 57 degrees. It'll be a little breezy with those winds sitting around 15 miles per hour, but also about 15 degrees above normal tonight as well. So no rain in the forecast today. Wednesday morning, afternoon, mostly dry, but Wednesday night, you get some really heavy rain moves in. Rounds of rain all day Thursday with an 80% chance of rain, and still a few showers through early Friday morning. And then finally, we'll kick all of that out of here. Your chance for thunderstorms tomorrow is at about a 2 out of 5 for severe weather on the lower end, mostly for North Mississippi, eastern Arkansas. Damaging winds and hail would be the main concern with this on Wednesday night. Let's talk timing. So again, Wednesday morning, afternoon, you may see a stray shower. Notice a few little specks of green. This is 3 o'clock on Wednesday as we go through time. But that line of rain doesn't really start to move in. The line with the heaviest stuff around 7 o'clock in Harrisburg, Blytheville, into Tipton, Lauderdale County, into Dyersburg, Memphis, seeing a few showers. North Mississippi, that spot that I told you has the greatest chance for something severe. Between 9 and 10 o'clock is when this moves in. So here's 10. Look at those dark reds. That's showing us some heavy rain. It'll be pouring in those spots. And again, you'll have some strong winds, maybe some large hail in spots like Clarksdale and Oxford and Corinth, also in Olive Branch and going into Shelby County and Collierville and Memphis, seeing some of those thunderstorms. You may see something severe in North Mississippi through midnight. And then after that, I no longer think we'll have any severe weather, but you will still have some rain lingering. This is 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Notice that heavy rain from Shelby County into Fayette County into northeast Mississippi. And again, you'll have rounds of rain all day. So morning rain, dry out for a little bit, and then more in the afternoon and evening. Thursday night, once again, the same spot where I showed you that severe weather risk on Wednesday, you'll have that same chance for severe weather in eastern Arkansas and North Mississippi, but a 3 out of 5. And that's because not only do you have that hail and wind threat, but also a threat for tornadoes. So you get more of those ingredients coming together for severe weather potential. Right now, timing for that looks like maybe starting after 6 o'clock at night Thursday, and we could see some of those storms overnight Thursday as well. So something that we'll be monitoring for you. I don't really have much to show you in the way of timing right now, just because it looks like it would be isolated severe weather. We are going to see quite a bit of rain with this as well, about 1 inch to 3 inches of rain expected through Friday morning for most of the area. And in some spots, if you get some downpours that set up over the same area for a long amount of time, you could see those totals go over 3 inches of rain. So flash flooding will be a possibility. Now, if any watches or warnings get issued, best place to go for that info is on our First Alert weather app. You can download that for free. But like I said, today's beautiful. If you have lunch plans today, hopefully it's somewhere with a patio. 72 degrees at noon, 74 at 1 o'clock. Upper 70s today, 74 tomorrow. We're still warm actually on Thursday too, upper 60s. And then Friday afternoon, your high is 56. So temperatures drop down quite a bit behind that cold front, bringing that rain Thursday into Friday. And we're still in the upper 50s on Saturday, high of 61 on Sunday, and it's sunny and dry all weekend.
And I want to switch gears here. We were covering this morning just an awful situation out of Fraser, a house fire. 4 people killed in a house fire around 2 o'clock this morning on Parr Avenue. That's near Thomas, near Fraser Boulevard as well. And I want to go to our reporter that was there all morning long. We had Action News 5's Sydney Hawkins reporting live for us, and she is still on the scene this morning. And Sydney, first off, I got to say, you were great in updating us throughout the morning with various tidbits of new information that you got from the Memphis Fire Department. Can you give us just a wrap of what you know at this point about that fire, that house fire behind you? So tragic.
Just an unbelievable situation, Andrew. The Memphis Fire Department told us that the fire started around 2 o'clock this morning, and they quickly worked to get that fire out at 2:30 this morning. This is the aftermath of that fire. This is the house that apparently housed 5 people. We know 4 people lost their lives in this fire. A 5th person is in the hospital fighting for their life. The 4 people includes 2 children, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old, 33 and 62-year-old, all lost their lives in the fire. And the Memphis Fire Department said this is due to a space heater. They're not sure if the family left the space heater on throughout the night. They're investigating the specific cause of that, but they do know that this fire caused this house to be like this and these people to lose their lives, all due to a space heater.
Are you hearing me, Cindy? I'm sorry. I noticed that you talked to a number of different people out there. What were some of the neighbors saying that you were talking to there? Because this fire had been going for quite some time.
Yeah, a lot of people are just in disbelief. Some neighbors that I spoke with earlier says this is not the first fire to happen in this neighborhood. Some people that I spoke with, the Memphis Fire Department was not able to confirm this information, but there was just a dog roaming around the neighborhood. I want to show you now that the Memphis Animal Services is currently on the scene. The home that was involved in this fire has a sign that says beware of the dog. We did see another wiener dog in this area, as well as this home has a couple chickens or a few chickens in their backyard. So a lot of people, again, are just in disbelief for this family, as well as any pets, any people involved, the family members of the people who lost their lives. People are just distraught, as you can imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And that's the thing. It's like I can't imagine 4 people dying in a house fire due to a space heater. It is just one of the worst stories to cover as a journalist. I mean, it's just, just certainly something that strikes at everybody's heart here. What else are firefighters telling you? I understand that there is a person that is in the hospital right now, a 5th person. What kind of information do we have about that?
The only thing we know about that person is that that person is in critical condition, taken from this house. But the reminder that the Memphis Fire Department told me as I was here at 5:30 this morning is that this is a great reminder to make sure that you have working smoke detectors in your home. This is something that no one wants to go through early Tuesday morning. Those 2 kids that lost their lives, I imagine, would have been going to school this morning. So it's a tragic reminder to have working smoke detectors in your home, as well as the reminder that we hear when it comes to space heaters. It's something that you have to keep your eye on. You have to be diligent with. You can't keep it running overnight, and you know that you aren't supposed to plug those space heaters in extension cords. Those are supposed to go in a direct outlet. So it's just a tragic reminder for many families this morning who do use space heaters or have smoke detectors in their home to make sure that they are working.
Yeah, I mean, you said it all right. I mean, you know, space heaters certainly need space, and you need to be very careful with them. And this is, as you mentioned, a painful reminder for so many out there. City Hawkins, really appreciate your reporting this morning, and thanks for joining us on the digital desk. We'll see you soon back here at the station. Check out the cover of the latest edition of the Memphis Flyer on newsstands right now. You can go to memphisflyer.com, and there it is. Slice, slice, baby. Yes, we are talking about pizza, and we have Sam Chichi on the line with us on the Action News 5 digital desk. Sam, you're just a regular here. You're always on and writing some articles that we are so interested in. How you doing this morning?
Pretty good. You know, it's always exciting to talk about pizza. And yeah, it does feel like I'm becoming a Memphis Flyer magazine regular on here. Thanks again for having me.
You got it. You got it. Memphis Flyer, Memphis Magazine. It doesn't matter. You're here and you're writing some great pieces. So I'm one of those that can eat pizza all the time. I mean, I love pizza. I love the different kinds and different slices, different toppings, that sort of thing. Tell me about what viewers, or rather readers, can expect with this article in the Memphis Flyer.
Well, first of all, you know, just kind of looking at our cover image and everything, pretty clear we just kind of wanted to have fun with this one. You know, the food things give us an opportunity to cut loose and mix it up from some of the more hard news articles we got. So when we were talking about options, we hadn't done pizza since, I believe, 2019. So we just decided to get together and send our writing team out around the city and kind of see which pizza places they wanted to try. You know, it's a pretty good list we got on here. It's a mix of, you know, some pretty popular places and then some other unknown spots, you know. So I don't want to say it's a definitive guide to pizza around Memphis, but we were just hoping to have a, you know, kind of a fun way to share our love for pizza and hopefully show some new spots to readers too, in case they had missed some of these places.
Yeah. So during the travels and during this piece, did you find that there were certain categories of pizza? I mean, most people know, you know, Chicago-style pizza is kind of a deep dish. You have some other pizzas out there, like, for example, Memphis Pizza Cafe to me is, you know, very thin-crusted type of pizza. Are there certain categories like that you just kind of noticed during this piece?
I think so, a little bit. There are a couple places that, you know, really have a distinct style. Like you said, Memphis Pizza Cafe, they specialize in those thin crusts. You've got a new place called Izzy and Adams down Summer, which, you know, specializes in Chicago-style pizza, deep dish, and a bunch of cool things like that. I believe they just opened up a couple months ago, but they're very good. My coworker, Michael Donahue, talks them up very highly. But beyond that, you know, I think I struggled to put some of these places into one distinct category. They've kind of all got their own little Americanized twist on it. You know, if I were gallivanting through Europe, we'd have more neat categorizations for, you know, thin crust, classic style, Neapolitan. You know, while I'm thinking about it, I do want to point out the Thud Butt from Little Betty at Wiseacre. They do have a distinct New Haven style pizza. So that's another thing to look out for. It's got a little bit of a thinner crust, a little chewier, kind of charred a little bit. It kind of hews close to the classic Neapolitan style, but other than looking at a few examples, I do think it's a pretty broad spectrum here. We got a lot of people trying different things and really putting their own stamp on the pizza game. So it's pretty exciting. You can do some research if you do want a specific style, but really you can just hop around town and try something new. Get something amazing. I mean, it's pizza. Everybody loves pizza. None of these places are going to let you down.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's really nice to kind of just check it out and kind of see which one offers what, because as you mentioned, there's so many different styles. You got the Neapolitan, you got the thin crust, you got the deep dish, and it almost seems like there are so many different styles of pizza, and then there's this Detroit style that's really kind of gaining a lot of fervor out there. But it's so nice to see just people getting more creative in the pizza realm. Anything else you want to mention with regards to this article about the love of pizza in the Memphis area?
It's really interesting. We get a lot of press releases which kind of aggregate different data about almost anything. And one landed in our inbox on Tuesday, I believe, after we'd finished writing this article. That was saying, I think Memphis was one of the worst pizza cities in the country. And that kind of surprised me because, I've been here over a decade and I've tried a lot of really, really cool places, a lot of people who are really passionate about their craft. I don't know how this organization came to that conclusion, but I just have to say I completely disagree. We have a lot of great places, and there are some really good places that unfortunately didn't make this list, like Aldo's, High Point, Coletta's, and there are so many more that we wish we could have included. So I do just want to reiterate that there are a lot of really, really good pizza spots here, and whether you want something fancier, just a little bar snack to help you down some beers, we've got you covered.
Yes. And you know what we call those people that say stuff like that? The worst city in the country when it comes to pizza? One word: hater. That's what we call them. They're haters.
You're right. Ignore them.
Because I'm with you. 100% disagree with that person's analysis. It really is like every different community has several options. I can think of Chow Baby. That's another place in Collierville that has Neapolitan pizza that is just incredible. And it goes on and on. You can go to Bartlett. You can go to different parts of Memphis, as you mentioned. Summer Avenue's got its own style of pizza and that sort of thing. So, Sam, really appreciate it. Anything else before we let you go?
I think that covers it. Just go out and grab a slice and pick up a copy of the flyer.
There it is, the copy of the Memphis Flyer, Slice Baby, an analysis of some of the great pizza that we have in Memphis and across the Mid-South. Sam Chichi, we appreciate it as always. Thanks very much.
All right. Thanks, Andrew.
Okay, each and every month we like to look back on various trends, what's happening in various facets of our lives, society, entertainment, sports, culture, that sort of thing. And to do that, we always bring in a Google expert to really kind of give us an idea of what people are searching for during any given month or perhaps the Super Bowl. We have right now Elizabeth Howard, a Google Trends expert, with us, joining us now on the digital desk. Elizabeth, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks so much for having me.
Appreciate you being here. So I'm looking at some of these trends here, and I would think, we talked immediately after the Super Bowl, some of the different trends people were searching for, and it looks like when it comes to entertainment, of course, Rihanna and some other Super Bowl trends were at the top of the charts.
Yes, absolutely. Entertainment was a huge category this month. Rihanna stole the show at the Super Bowl. So sorry for the two football teams who played, but Rihanna was the top search. And in specifically Tennessee, we saw Stay as the top search song during the Super Bowl for Rihanna. And we also saw her partner A$AP Rocky was the top celebrity search during the Super Bowl. So that was a unique search that we were surprised to see as well.
Yeah, and I had a meme that I posted afterwards, and it was making fun of people kind of looking at the screen saying, is Rihanna pregnant? And it turns out that's one of the search items, Rihanna pregnant or not.
Yes, it is. It was the most searched item as soon as she started her Super Bowl performance, and she did confirm her second pregnancy. And so her second pregnancy was the most searched topic the day after the Super Bowl as well. So she had people talking for quite a few days.
No question, Elizabeth. Something else, I'm looking at the list here. A couple things that kind of stood out to me, and it may be something I've missed. The science aspects, Colorado River was the highest search in the science category for the month of February. And then the UFOs, when it comes to odd news, UFOs really searched in the month of February. Bring us up to date. Where are these coming from?
Sure. So Colorado River is experiencing a 2-decade-long drought, and people are really concerned about their water supply. So we saw a lot of searches around where does the Colorado River start? Where does it end? What states does it touch? Is it drying out? What does the water supply look like? And so we saw people concerned about that. But then on the other side of science, we also saw unidentified foreign objects pop up in our search trends as well. And the top search in that category is what is in the sky. So people were very interested in what's flying around in the sky. We saw people search for aliens and are aliens real? And one of the unique searches in Tennessee is all across the United States, every state was searching for the movie Alien except Tennessee, who was searching for the movie Predator. So everyone in Tennessee really beat out the rest of the United States searching for the Predator movie.
That's interesting. I love seeing weird stuff like that. And I guess the Chinese balloon issue was one of the reasons that probably people started searching for UFOs and different things out in the sky. NBA All-Star Weekend, I see that was a big search with LeBron James getting the scoring record too.
Yes, absolutely. And we saw all across the United States people searching for Team LeBron versus Team Giannis. And in Tennessee, big Team LeBron fan. So, and pretty much I will say, no offense to Team Giannis, but I think most of the United States was Team LeBron during that weekend.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. Of course, we had 2 Memphis Grizzlies playing in the All-Star game this year, so that was, I know a lot of people, at least in the Memphis area, certainly watched that. What else can you tell us about it? I see when it came to food, National Pizza Day topped the charts, huh?
Yes, February 9th, one of the greatest holidays, National Pizza Day. And of course, you know, the great debate going around is New York style or Chicago style. And in Tennessee, definitely New York style. We actually saw quite a divide amongst the United States. The lower half of the United States was very much a New York style pizza people. And then the northern half was Chicago style. So really, however you celebrated, you can't go wrong there, though.
You know, it's interesting, you know, Valentine's Day, of course, search there. And on Valentine's Day, you guys have it in various subcategories like searches for Galentine's Day, self-love, Single Awareness Day. And then the top, is it weird to alone? Is it weird to go to a bar alone, a concert alone, restaurant, movie? That's weird to me, or odd, or I don't know. Is it?
Well, you know, this year we did see a lot of searches that moved out of just the romantic Valentine's Day searches. So we did see what are some Galentine's cocktails to make? Is it weird to go to dinner alone? Is it weird to go to a movie theater alone? But one of the most interesting things that I thought was for a romantic Valentine's Day date is people were searching for cities to escape to for the weekend. And Orlando was the top most searched city in Tennessee. And if you maybe didn't go to Orlando but wanted to stay in Tennessee, a spa retreat was the top date idea for those hanging around the state for Valentine's Day.
Interesting. I always love breaking it down, these Google Trends searches. Tell us, Elizabeth, where people can find it on their own.
Sure. Anyone can access these trends at google.com/trends, and you can search by specific categories, specific locations, a specific time of day. So I really encourage anyone to check it out. You will be very surprised at the things that pop up.
You can go down a rabbit hole and really be like totally fascinated on like what people are searching. Elizabeth Howard, really appreciate the time this morning. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Again, a live look from downtown Memphis. And don't forget, for the news at any hour, you can always head over to actionnews5.com. Also on midday coming up, we're going to be talking more about that horrific, deadly fire in Frayser that took the life of 4, including 2 children. But that'll do it for us here at the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Amanda Hanson. We'll see you back here starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning.